The reclaimed Behemoth's Academy. The sun dipped below the horizon as the first students of the reclaimed Behemoth's Academy trudged through the stone-lined path towards the towering fortress. Their spirits, heavy with anticipation and fear, echoed in the chilly air. As they neared the academy gates, a figure emerged from the shadows, the legendary mentor, renowned for his ability to tame even the most ferocious behemoths. A young man stood apart from the others, his eyes glimmering with an inexplicable connection to the colossal creatures that roamed freely beyond the walls. This was Elias, the Academy's most promising student, chosen for his uncanny ability to bond with behemoths as if they were extensions of himself. As Mentor approached him, a deep sense of familiarity washed over them both. Mentor's eyes narrowed subtly, a secret connection tugging at the corners of his lips. For he knew this young man from another life, one filled with power and camaraderie, a life they would soon struggle to remember as the lines between human and behemoth began to blur. Meanwhile, in the dimly lit recesses of the academy, a figure stirred. Zara, a fierce warrior cloaked in mystery, listened intently as whispers of an ancient prophecy echoed through the corridors. It spoke of a chosen one who would rise to become the ultimate beast, a being powerful enough to save or destroy humanity. Determined not to be left behind, Zara vowed to survive whatever trials lay ahead and seize her destiny as the prophesied warrior. Little did she know that her path would cross with Elias's, forever altering their fates and testing their wills against the looming apocalypse. But as the students settled into the academy and began to train, darker forces stirred within its walls. Victor, a cunning politician, plotted his rise to power behind closed doors, using his charm and wit to manipulate others into serving his twisted desires for dominance over the academy and ultimately the world beyond. As Elias grappled with his newfound powers and the weight of his past, he struggled to maintain control over his burgeoning abilities. The lines between human and behemoth blurred further, causing him pain and confusion as he wrestled to understand his true nature. In the midst of this chaos, a sense of unease grew within Mentor as he watched Elias grow stronger. He knew that their history would soon come to light, forcing him to choose between loyalty and self-preservation. The tension simmered beneath the surface, threatening to boil over at any moment and shake the very foundations of the academy itself. The morning sun rose over the academy, casting long shadows across the cobblestone courtyard where students practiced their behemoth summoning skills. Elias stood alone, gazing upon his bonded companion, a colossal griffin named Vulcan. The connection between them was undeniable, a bond that transcended words and defied explanation. Mentor approached him, his eyes reflecting the wisdom of centuries spent mastering the art of behemoth control. Elias, he said softly, his voice thick with concern. Your power, it's growing, but it comes at a cost. What do you mean? Elias asked, turning to face him. Every time you summon Vulcan, your body changes, it evolves to accommodate the immense power required to tame such a creature. You must learn to control it or risk losing yourself. Elias stared at his mentor, feeling a cold dread settle in his chest. What do I have to do? He asked, his voice barely audible. Only time will tell, Mentor replied cryptically before walking away, leaving Elias alone with his thoughts. As Elias practiced throughout the day, he couldn't shake off Mentor's warning. He felt different, stronger, faster, more in tune with Vulcan than ever before. But as he gazed into the griffin's golden eyes, a flicker of recognition crossed his features that sent shivers down Elias' spine. That night, as students gathered around a campfire to share stories and laughter, Zara approached him. Elias, she said quietly, her gaze never leaving his face. I know what you are. And what am I? He asked warily. You're the prophesied one, the one destined to become a beast. But how do you know? Elias demanded, standing tall. It was foretold in an ancient scroll I found, she replied. The chosen one will possess the power to control behemoths like no other, and only they can save us from the coming darkness. Elias looked down at Vulcan, feeling a strange mix of excitement and fear. Could he truly be the one destined for this great responsibility? As the night wore on, his thoughts were interrupted by a commotion nearby. A group of students huddled around Victor, who was arguing with another man, one that Elias didn't recognize. You can't keep this up much longer, Victor said coldly to the stranger. The council will find out about your secret alliance. I have no fear of the council, the stranger replied, his voice full of malice. They are pawns, just like everyone else. Elias listened intently as the conversation continued, his heart pounding in his chest. There was something familiar about that man's voice, a darkness he couldn't quite put his finger on. Victor stormed off in anger. Elias approached the stranger. "Who are you?" he demanded. "And what do you want with the council?" The stranger turned to face him, revealing a twisted smile that sent another shiver down Elias' spine. "You don't know me yet, Elias," he said softly. "But soon enough we will be reunited." The reclaimed Behemoth's Academy. The sun set over the sprawling academy, casting a warm glow upon the ancient stones and the students who called it home. Elias sat by a crackling campfire with his mentor, sharing stories of old as they roasted marshmallows. The air was filled with tension. The whispers of the unknown had been growing louder each day. Elias, ever inquisitive, asked mentor, "What secrets do you hide?" "I can sense it in your eyes." The mentor looked into Elias's eyes, his expression unreadable as he replied, "Soon enough, my young student. But for now, let us focus on our training and the trials that lie ahead." Zara, who had been listening intently, suddenly interrupted. "Enough talk. I sense a change within Elias, one that will determine our fate. We must prepare." Victor stepped forward, his eyes gleaming with mischief. "Prepare? For what exactly, Zara? An attack from the behemoths? Or perhaps an internal threat?" He smiled slyly before disappearing into the shadows. Elias's eyes followed Victor until he vanished from sight, a chill running down his spine as the weight of his powers and their cost grew heavier. As the fire died out, leaving behind embers glowing like tiny stars, Elias knew that they were on the brink of something monumental. The embers of the campfire flickered, casting long shadows across the academy courtyard as Elias, Zara, and Victor sat huddled around it. The night air was crisp, carrying with it the faint scent of pine and distant thunderstorms. "I've been thinking," Elias began, breaking the silence, "about what you told me earlier, mentor." His gaze shifted to his mentor, who looked away, gazing at the stars above. "You said something about knowing my past, but then you changed the subject." He paused, taking a deep breath before continuing. "I want to know, who am I?" The mentor sighed, running a hand through his gray hair. "It's complicated, Elias," he began, the firelight illuminating his face as he spoke. "Sometimes knowing our past can be more of a burden than a gift." He looked at Victor, who smirked and leaned back against a nearby stone wall. "I think he knows," Victor said, his voice dripping with malice. The mentor tensed, glaring at him. "You know that old saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer?" He continued, ignoring the mentor's ire. "It seems you took it to heart." Zara stood up, her eyes narrowed on Victor. "Enough," she growled, her voice echoing through the courtyard. "We came here to train, not bicker like children." She gestured to Elias and the mentor. "You have questions, and he has secrets. Let's focus on what matters, becoming stronger and ensuring our survival." Elias nodded, agreeing with Zara's sentiment. The tension between Victor and the others was palpable as they returned to their training routines. As the night wore on, Elias couldn't help but feel that there was more to this story than what met the eye. Unbeknownst to them, in the shadows of the academy walls, a figure watched with interest. The stranger whispered to himself, a sinister grin spreading across his face. "The game continues," he murmured, disappearing into the darkness as thunder rumbled overhead. The reclaimed Behemoth's Academy. The rain poured down upon the stone walls of the reclaimed Behemoth's Academy as Elias knelt before the crackling campfire, the warmth offering little relief from the chill that seemed to permeate his very bones. The night was dark and foreboding, the shadows cast by the flickering flames dancing ominously on the damp cobblestones surrounding them. Zara, her eyes blazing with determination, stood tall and unwavering next to him. Her armored form was a stark contrast to the soft glow of the campfire, her gaze never faltering as she looked out into the darkness. Victor, ever the cunning one, sat nearby, his eyes glinting with mischief as he held a marshmallow between his fingers, poised to roast it over the flames. The mentor, an elderly man who seemed ancient beyond his years, stood silent and watchful near the edge of the firelight. He had been Elias' guide since they first arrived at the academy, but lately there was a sense that he was holding back something important. A sudden gust of wind whipped through the courtyard, snuffing out the campfire momentarily before it flickered to life once more. The darkness seemed to close in around them as the rain continued to fall, the sound of droplets hitting the ground growing louder and more insistent. Elias felt a shiver run down his spine, the cold seeping through his clothing and into the very depths of his soul. He looked up at Zara, her eyes still fixed on the horizon, and wondered if she too was feeling the weight of the night pressing down upon them. "I can't shake this feeling," Elias began hesitantly, "that there's something more to all of this." His gaze shifted towards Victor, who merely smirked at him, a look that sent a chill down Elias' spine. Zara turned to face him, her expression serious. "The only thing we need concern ourselves with right now is training," she said, her voice firm and unyielding. "We don't have the luxury of dwelling on feelings or suspicions." Elias nodded, but he couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to discover, some truth hidden within the academy's ancient walls. As the rain continued to pour down upon them and the shadows danced around their campsite, Elias felt a growing sense of unease. The mentor stepped forward, his voice low and grave. "There are things you must know," he said, his eyes locked on Elias as if searching for something within him. "But they may not be ready for you yet." Elias could feel a growing tension between the mentor and Victor, the two of them exchanging glances that spoke volumes without a word being spoken. He knew that there was a secret hidden between them, one that he feared might tear their group apart if it ever came to light. As the rain continued to fall and the shadows danced around their campsite, Elias felt a growing sense of foreboding. Something was amiss within the academy, and he knew that uncovering the truth would require courage, determination, and perhaps even sacrifice. The night stretched on, the darkness swallowing them whole as they sat by the campfire, the crackling flames offering little comfort in the face of the growing shadows. Elias could feel the tension building within him, a storm brewing deep within his soul. He knew that soon he would have to confront both the secrets hidden within the academy and the darkness that seemed to follow him wherever he went. As the last drops of rain fell from the storm-ravaged sky, the campfire flickered and crackled, casting shadows across the faces of Elias, Zara, Victor, and the mentor. A sense of unease hung heavily in the air as they finished their shared marshmallows, each lost in thought. "Elias," the mentor began, "there is something I must tell you." His voice was hesitant, a stark contrast to his normally confident demeanor. "I believe we have a visitor." The others turned their attention toward the academy gates where a lone figure stood, hooded and cloaked in darkness. The stranger approached cautiously, stepping into the light of the campfire. As they drew closer, Elias felt an odd sensation coursing through him, a connection he couldn't quite place. The mentor rose to his feet, eyes narrowing as he studied the stranger. "Who are you?" he demanded. "I am here to speak with Elias," the stranger replied, voice smooth and calm. A shiver ran down Elias' spine, his connection to this mysterious figure deepening. Elias stepped forward, his heart pounding in his chest. "What do you want from me?" he asked, not entirely sure if he wanted the truth or not. "I have news of your past," the stranger replied, reaching into a hidden pocket and producing an ancient scroll. Elias hesitated, unsure if he was ready to face whatever lay within those lines of ink. The mentor's eyes flashed with anger and sadness. "Elias, I must warn you, this could tear our world apart." Elias stared at the scroll, feeling the weight of secrets threatening to shatter his newfound existence. He looked back at the mentor, then the stranger, and finally at Zara and Victor. In that moment, he knew he had a decision to make, one that would change everything. The reclaimed Behemoth's Academy as the crackling campfire lit up the faces of Elias, Zara, Victor, and the mysterious stranger. Elias felt a growing unease in his heart. The mentor had hinted at secrets hidden within the academy that could shake their world, but he couldn't shake off the feeling that there was more to it. The stranger cleared his throat, drawing everyone's attention. "I have traveled far and wide seeking answers," he began, "and I believe I have found something that may shed light on your past." He unfolded a tattered scroll, its parchment yellowed and brittle from age. Zara crossed her arms, her eyes narrowing as she regarded the stranger. And who are you to know anything about our lives? She demanded. Victor grinned, his eyes gleaming with curiosity. Indeed, stranger. We value trust within our community. What do you have that is worth our time? The mentor stepped forward, placing a gentle hand on Elias's shoulder. Elias, it may be best if we hear what this man has to say. It could help us all in the end. With a heavy heart, Elias took the scroll from the stranger and began to read aloud, his voice trembling as he recounted the words of the ancient text. Long ago, before the fall of humanity, there was a great war between the behemoths and the humans. A hero emerged from the Chaos One who could bond with the behemoths themselves. He was known as the Beastmaster. Elias's eyes widened in shock, his mind racing with memories that suddenly flooded back to him, visions of a time before the academy, before the storm, when he and the stranger were friends fighting side by side against the behemoths. But something was different now. Their bond felt strained, as if it could snap at any moment. Zara's eyes narrowed even further. This changes nothing. We are bound to our new lives here. Perhaps, Victor said thoughtfully, but with this knowledge, Elias holds immense power. Power that someone might seek to control. A few days had passed since their campfire encounter in the courtyard. The students continued their training under the watchful eyes of the academy trainers, honing their abilities to survive within the world of behemoths. As Elias walked through the academy's grand hallways, he couldn't shake off the memories that plagued him since his transformation. He found himself drawn to a dimly lit alcove, where a tattered scroll lay on a pedestal. As he approached it, the scroll unfurled with a gust of wind, revealing ancient symbols and cryptic text. Elias traced his fingers over the faded ink, deciphering the meaning behind the words. The Beastmaster's legacy will be passed to one who bonds with a behemoth of immense power, destined to bring balance or doom. The revelation sent chills down Elias' spine as he recalled the words of his mentor. You were chosen for a reason, Elias. Your bond with behemoths is unlike any other. Meanwhile, Zara and Victor engaged in a heated debate about their future within the academy. We must prepare for the day when we'll have to face the internal threat, Zara insisted, referring to the hidden faction that aimed to use the behemoths for nefarious purposes. Victor scoffed. The only threat we should worry about is ourselves. Once we reveal our true potential, there will be no stopping us. As their argument escalated, a mysterious figure observed them from afar. The stranger, who had been lurking in the shadows since Elias's transformation, held a secret connection to both the mentor and the antagonist from Elias's past life. In the depths of the academy, the mentor pondered over the course of events, his heart heavy with the burden of his hidden truth. He knew that the time was coming when he would have no choice but to reveal his connection to Victor and the antagonist, a secret that could change everything for Elias and their allies. Back in the courtyard, Elias stared at the tattered scroll, his mind racing with thoughts of his past and the weight of the prophecy. He little knew that his life was about to take an unexpected turn, one that would test his bonds with his newfound friends, challenge his beliefs, and ultimately determine the fate of humanity. The tension between Elias, Zara, and Victor grew stronger as each day passed, their bond tested by secrets and hidden agendas. The mentor observed them from afar, waiting for the moment when he would have to reveal his connection to Victor and the antagonist from Elias' past life. One night, a group of students gathered around a crackling campfire in the academy courtyard, roasting marshmallows and sharing stories under the watchful gaze of the behemoths that roamed the grounds. As Elias listened to their tales, he felt a strange sense of longing for his former life. Suddenly, the mysterious stranger approached him. Elias, he said, his voice low and menacing. I've been watching you. I know what you are, what you can do. Startled, Elias tried to back away, but the stranger grabbed him by the arm. Your mentor has a secret, one that could change everything, he whispered. And I have the power to make sure it's revealed. Elias struggled against the stranger's grip, his mind racing as he considered the implications of this revelation. As they fought, Zara and Victor rushed over to intervene, but before they could act, a group of academy trainers arrived, breaking up the altercation. In the chaos that followed, the mysterious stranger disappeared into the shadows, leaving Elias shaken and questioning everything he knew about his mentor and the academy. The tension between them reached a boiling point as they confronted their mentor about the stranger's words. The mentor hesitated, torn between his loyalty to Elias and the secrets he held close. In a moment of desperation, he revealed that Victor was once a member of the malevolent faction that sought to use the behemoths for power, before turning on them and joining the academy. The revelation sent shockwaves through their group, threatening to tear them apart as trust crumbled and allegiances shifted. As Elias struggled with this new information, he began to question his own abilities and the true nature of the academy. He realized that there was more to his bond with behemoths than mere power. It was a connection that ran deeper, one that could help him bring balance or doom to their world. The reclaimed Behemoth's academy under a crackling campfire in the academy courtyard, Elias and Zara sit on opposite sides of their camp, sharing marshmallows roasted over the flames. Victor, ever the politician, weaves his way through the crowd of students, whispering to various individuals with sly smiles. The mentor stands nearby, watching them all. Elias, Zara says, breaking the silence between them, "I've been thinking about what the mentor told us." She leans in closer. "If you really are destined to become a Beastmaster, we should prepare for that day." Elias hesitates, his eyes glancing towards the dimly lit alcove where the mysterious stranger often lurks. He feels an unexplainable connection to the stranger, but senses danger. "I'm not sure I am ready," he admits. As Elias speaks, a sudden commotion erupts in the crowd. Students shout and point towards Victor, who is surrounded by angry students accusing him of betrayal. The mentor steps forward and pulls Victor aside, his expression stern. "What's going on?" Elias demands, standing protectively between Zara and Victor. Victor smirks, looking unconcerned. "I was merely engaging in a discussion with some students," he replies coolly. They misunderstood. The mentor's gaze narrows and he leans close to Elias. "You should be careful around him," he whispers. "He isn't what he seems." A chill runs down Elias' spine as the words echo in his mind. He recalls the mysterious stranger's warning about Victor and senses that there may be more truth to it than he initially thought. As the night wears on, Elias can't shake the feeling that danger is lurking around every corner. As the students disperse for the evening, Elias makes his way towards the dimly lit alcove where the mysterious stranger often sits. He approaches cautiously, unsure of what he will find. The stranger looks up at his approach and offers him a knowing smile. "You've come to seek answers," he says. Elias nods, his heart pounding in his chest. "I don't know who you are or why you follow us, but I need your help." The stranger leans forward, his eyes glinting with intensity. "I can help you uncover the truth," he says, pulling out a tattered scroll from beneath his cloak. "But it will come at a cost." The evening air was crisp and cool as the students of the reclaimed Behemoth's academy gathered around a crackling campfire in the courtyard, roasting marshmallows and sharing stories of their past lives before the world fell into ruin. Elias, Zara, Victor, and several others huddled together. Watching the flames dance, they listened to tales of heroism, love, and loss. Elias, feeling a strange sense of unease, found himself gazing at the mysterious stranger, who had recently joined their group. The stranger watched him back, his eyes filled with an intensity that sent chills down Elias' spine. As the night wore on, the conversation turned to lighter topics, and soon everyone was laughing and enjoying themselves. But the tension between Elias and Victor remained palpable, a constant undercurrent beneath the laughter and camaraderie. The mentor sat nearby, his eyes never leaving Elias. He knew more about the mysterious stranger than he let on, and he feared this newcomer was a harbinger of trouble. He had seen firsthand the twisted lengths Victor would go to in pursuit of power, and he worried that their world might be on the brink of another storm. In a dimly lit alcove away from the firelight, the mentor pulled Victor aside. "I need to talk to you," he said, his voice low and serious. "About Elias." Victor tensed, his eyes narrowing as he turned to face the mentor. "What about him?" The mentor sighed, running a hand through his graying hair. "You and I have history, Victor, a past we'd rather forget. But it seems that history is catching up with us." Victor's expression didn't change, but Elias could sense the tension rising between them. He turned back to the fire, feeling a strange mixture of fear and curiosity as he listened to their whispered conversation. The mentor continued, "I've been watching you, Victor. I know what you're planning, and I won't stand for it." Victor scoffed. "You think you can stop me? You're just an old man with a past filled with regrets." The mentor leaned in closer, his eyes burning with determination. "I may be many things, Victor, but I won't let you bring destruction upon this academy, and the people who trust us. This isn't our world anymore. We have to find a new way forward." Victor sneered, shaking his head as he walked away. The mentor watched him go, feeling a sense of dread settling over him. He knew that their conflict was far from over, and the cost of victory might be higher than either of them could bear. Meanwhile, Elias approached the mysterious stranger, who stood alone by the fire, watching the flames as they danced and flickered. "I need to ask you something," Elias said hesitantly. The stranger turned to face him, his eyes piercing into Elias' soul. "Ask away." Elias hesitated, unsure of how to begin. "I've been having these memories of a past life, before the academy. I don't understand why they're happening now, and I'm afraid they might threaten our world if I can't control them." The stranger smiled, his eyes never leaving Elias' face. "I think I can help you with that," he said, holding out the tattered scroll he had been hiding. "But it will come at a price." Elias hesitated, unsure if he should trust this stranger who seemed to know so much about him and his past. But the allure of answers was too strong to resist. He took the scroll from the stranger's outstretched hand, feeling a strange connection forming between them as he did. As the night wore on, Elias found himself drawn deeper into the mystery surrounding his past and the prophecy of the Beastmaster. He could sense that the answers he sought lay within the pages of that tattered scroll, but he couldn't shake the feeling that the cost of uncovering them might be too high. The mentor watched Elias and the stranger from a distance, his heart heavy with worry. He knew that their world was on the brink of change, and he feared that the choices they made now would determine their fate for generations to come. As the fire flickered and died, the students dispersed to their quarters, leaving Elias alone with the mystery of his past. He held the tattered scroll in his hands, feeling a strange mixture of hope and fear as he wondered what secrets it might hold. The night was still young, but already it seemed as though the world around him was shifting, and he couldn't help but feel that he was at the center of it all. The mentor stood silently in the shadows, watching Elias as he made his way back to his room. He knew that their paths were intertwined, and he feared that the choices they would make in the days ahead would determine not only their fates, but the fate of humanity itself. As the academy slept, secrets began to unravel, and whispers of betrayal echoed through its halls. The stage was set for a battle that would test the very foundations of their world, and no one knew what price they would have to pay in order to survive. The reclaimed Behemoth's Academy. The night air grew colder as the reclaimed Behemoth's Academy settled into stillness, its towering walls shrouded in darkness. Elias stood before the dimly lit alcove, clutching the ancient scroll he received from the mysterious stranger, feeling its energy coursing through his veins. "Elias, I don't know what this means, but I can feel something powerful within it." A soft crackle echoed behind him as Zara approached, her eyes focused on Elias with a mix of curiosity and concern. "Zara, what have you found?" Elias hesitated, unsure if he could trust her after their heated argument about the internal threat, but he knew he couldn't keep it hidden forever. "Elias, the stranger gave me this scroll. I think it's connected to the prophecy of the Beastmaster and the Behemoth bond." Zara raised an eyebrow, her gaze flicking towards the mysterious stranger sitting by the campfire. "Zara, and you still believe there's no danger within our ranks?" Elias sighed, wishing he had more answers to offer. "Elias, I don't know what to think anymore, but I do trust this scroll. It feels like a piece of my past, and I can't ignore it." Zara nodded, understanding the weight Elias carried. She reached out and took his hand, offering him a silent promise of support. "Zara, we'll find answers together, Elias." As they walked back to their camp, Victor watched them from the shadows, his eyes narrowing with suspicion. He had been waiting for an opportunity to strike, and he could sense that this revelation might be just what he needed. "Victor, I should make my move. Now is the perfect time." Meanwhile, the mentor sat by the campfire, his eyes heavy with guilt. He knew more about Victor's plans than anyone else, but revealing it would put Elias in grave danger. The mentor looked up as the flames danced before him, searching for guidance. "Mentor, what am I supposed to do? Protect Elias, or protect the future of humanity?" The campfire crackled and flickered as Elias sat with Zara, sharing marshmallows roasted over the flames. The warmth of the fire seemed to be the only thing that could temper the chill creeping into their bones on this crisp autumn night. "You know, I've been thinking," Zara began, her voice low and serious, "about our bond with the behemoths." Elias turned to face her, his eyes reflecting the orange glow of the campfire. He had noticed that his connection with the beasts was growing stronger each day, but he struggled to understand its implications. "What about it?" Zara hesitated before continuing. "I've heard whispers about some beastmasters losing control when their bond becomes too strong." Elias frowned, considering her words. He had felt a strange tugging sensation when his behemoth thunder roared in the distance. It was as if the beast wanted to take him away from everything he knew. "I've noticed that too," he admitted, "but I don't know what it means." Just then, a dimly lit alcove at the edge of the academy courtyard caught their attention. From the shadows emerged a mysterious stranger with piercing eyes and an enigmatic smile. As he approached their campfire, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that they had met before. "Greetings," the stranger said, his voice smooth like silk. "I am here to offer guidance." Zara tensed, her hand instinctively reaching for a hidden knife beneath her cloak. Elias, however, felt an inexplicable calm wash over him as he looked into the stranger's eyes. He found himself unable to resist this newcomer and reluctantly invited him to join them by the campfire. As they shared stories and marshmallows, Victor watched from a distance, his expression cold and calculating. He had long suspected that there was more to the mysterious stranger than he let on, and now he saw an opportunity to manipulate both of them for his own benefit. Meanwhile, the mentor stood nearby, tormented by his secret connection to both the antagonist and the stranger. He knew that their fates were intertwined in ways he could not yet comprehend, and he feared what revelations might be just around the corner. The reclaimed Behemoth's Academy, the air grew thick with tension as shadows danced around the campfire, flickering orange and red, illuminating faces of students huddled together in conversation. Elias sat beside Zara, the warmth of the crackling fire providing little comfort to his restless spirit. He had come a long way since arriving at the academy, bonding with behemoths like never before, but the cost seemed too high. "You know," Zara said, breaking the silence between them, "I've been thinking about how we're changing. Becoming more powerful." Elias nodded, his gaze fixed on the flames. "It feels as if I'm losing control sometimes, like there are things in my past that threaten to surface." Zara reached out and placed her hand on Elias' shoulder. "You're not alone, friend. I feel it too." Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness, approaching their camp unnoticed. The students tensed, instinctively guarding themselves against any potential threat. As the stranger came closer, they realized it was merely an older student who carried an air of wisdom and mystery about him. "Greetings," the mysterious stranger said calmly. "I have come to offer guidance." Victor watched from a distance, his eyes narrowed in suspicion as he weighed whether or not to reveal Elias' secret past connection with the stranger. He knew it would give him leverage over both of them, but at what cost? The mentor stood quietly by, observing the unfolding scene, his own connection to Victor and the stranger weighing heavily on his conscience. "Who are you?" Zara demanded, her hand resting on her sword hilt. "And why do you seek Elias?" The stranger merely smiled enigmatically before pulling out a tattered scroll from within his robes. "I have information that may help Elias control his powers and discover the truth about his past." As the evening wore on, the campfire burned low, casting an eerie glow upon their faces. The students exchanged looks filled with fear and anticipation as they pondered what secrets lay within the ancient scroll. Little did they know that this seemingly innocent meeting would set in motion events that could change the course of their lives forever. Underneath the crackling campfire, Elias gazed intently at the marshmallow roasting over the heat, its warmth illuminating his face in flickering shadows. The dimly lit alcove, nestled between towering stone pillars, offered a sense of safety and seclusion amidst the bustling academy courtyard. "It's hard to believe we've come this far," Elias murmured thoughtfully. "I remember nothing of my past life, yet I feel as if these behemoths have always been here with me." Zara, seated across the fire, looked up from her own marshmallow and offered a soft smile. "We've come a long way together," she said softly. "But it's not just us. Look at how the academy has evolved since we arrived." Elias nodded in agreement, taking in the sight of students training alongside behemoths, their bond growing stronger each day. Suddenly, they heard footsteps approaching from behind. Zara's eyes narrowed, and she tensed slightly. "Welcome," said a voice from the darkness. The figure stepped forward into the firelight, revealing the mysterious stranger. "I've been watching you both for some time now." Elias felt his guard go up, but Zara's gaze remained steady and cautious. "We don't know who you are or where you came from," she said warily. "What do you want?" The stranger smiled enigmatically. "I have a gift for those who seek wisdom," he said. He produced an ancient, tattered scroll from within his robes and extended it toward Elias. Elias hesitated, torn between curiosity and caution. Zara watched him intently, her eyes filled with concern. He reluctantly reached out and took the scroll, unfurling it carefully to reveal cryptic runes that danced across its surface. As he began to read aloud, a sudden commotion erupted in the courtyard. Victor strode toward them, his face twisted into a sneer. "What's going on here?" he demanded, his eyes narrowing as he took in the scene before him. "I thought I told you to stay away from Elias." The stranger looked up from the scroll and met Victor's gaze coolly. "Your secrets are not safe with me," he said, his voice filled with venom. Victor's eyes widened in shock, and he took a step back, stumbling slightly. The tension in the air grew palpable as both men stared each other down. Elias felt his own heart racing, unsure of how to react or intervene. The mentor appeared suddenly at Victor's side, placing a restraining hand on his shoulder. "This is not the time nor place for this," he said sternly, glancing at the scroll in Elias' hands. "We must return to our quarters." Elias nodded, feeling a strange mix of emotions wash over him as he followed the others back to their dormitory. The whispers and stares of fellow students followed them, leaving an uneasy tension hanging heavy in the air. As they reached their room, Elias found himself unable to shake off the feeling that something momentous had occurred, a shift in their world that would change everything. That night, as he lay awake in his bed, staring up at the ceiling, Elias felt a newfound determination burning within him. He knew that the secrets hidden within the academy were too important to ignore, and he was determined to uncover the truth, even if it meant putting himself and those he cared about in danger. The next day, as he trained alongside his behemoth, Elias felt a renewed connection with the creature, its eyes seeming to mirror his own growing sense of purpose. He could feel the power surging within him, a power that was both exhilarating and terrifying. As he continued to bond with the behemoth, he began to glimpse fragments of memories from a life long lost, images of battles fought, friendships forged, and a love that had once burned brightly before being snuffed out. But there were also shadows lurking in those memories, dark whispers that hinted at betrayals and deceit. And as Elias delved deeper into the secrets buried within his past, he could feel the weight of the truth bearing down upon him, a truth that threatened to shatter the fragile balance between humans and behemoths forever. As the days passed, Elias' bond with the behemoth continued to grow stronger, as did his connection to Zara. Together, they began to uncover clues about their past lives and the role they played in the world before the academy. They discovered that many of the students at the academy had been chosen for a reason, not just because of their ability to bond with behemoths, but because of hidden talents and abilities that could help humanity survive in this new age. But as they delved deeper into the mysteries surrounding the academy, Elias and Zara began to realize that they were not alone in their quest for knowledge. Someone or something was watching them, following their every move and waiting for the right moment to strike. They could feel eyes upon them at all hours, a presence lurking just beyond their sight. One day, as Elias and Zara sat by the campfire, sharing stories of their past lives, they noticed a figure standing in the shadows. As they approached, the figure stepped out into the firelight, revealing a familiar face, Victor. I knew I'd find you here, he said with a sinister smile. You see, Elias, we have a lot to talk about. Elias felt his heart race as Zara stepped between them protectively. What do you want from us? She demanded, her voice filled with anger and fear. Victor laughed coldly. I'm tired of playing games, he said. It's time for me to take my rightful place among the most powerful beings in this world, and I won't let anything stand in my way. Elias felt a surge of anger rise within him, fueled by the memories of his past life that had slowly been returning. He remembered the moments when he and Victor had stood together, friends united against a common enemy. But as the years passed, something had changed between them, something dark and malevolent that had twisted Victor's soul. As they argued, Zara noticed the mentor watching from a distance, his face etched with concern. She felt a sudden realization wash over her. He knew more about their past than he let on, and it seemed that Victor was not the only one harboring secrets. That night, as Elias lay awake in his bed, he could feel the weight of the truth bearing down upon him. He knew that the time had come to confront both Victor and the mentor about their pasts, to reveal the darkness hidden within their hearts and bring it out into the light. But he also knew that doing so would change everything, not just for himself, but for all of humanity. As dawn broke, Elias made his decision. He would face both men no matter the cost. He would uncover the secrets buried beneath the Academy's ancient walls and bring truth to light. And he would do whatever it took to protect Zara, the behemoth, and the fragile balance between humans and behemoths, even if it meant facing his own darkness along the way. The journey ahead would not be easy, but Elias felt a renewed sense of purpose within him. He knew that he was destined for great things, and he would not let anything stand in his way. As he stepped out into the day, he looked around at the world before him, a world filled with wonder, danger, and mystery. The reclaimed Behemoth's Academy under the crackling campfire, Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger shared marshmallows as they gazed up at the stars. The Academy courtyard was bustling with students preparing for a training session in the morning. The mentor watched from a distance, his eyes following each of them with an air of concern. I can feel it, Elias said, breaking the silence. Something's not right. Zara, who had been staring into the flames, turned to him. What do you mean? The mysterious stranger leaned back against a tree trunk and sighed. There's more to this academy than they let on. Elias frowned, glancing at the mentor again. You seem to know more about it than any of us. I have my suspicions, the stranger replied cryptically, avoiding eye contact. Victor approached, his eyes gleaming with ambition and cunning. Ah, a secret meeting. How delightful. He smirked at the three students. What could possibly be so important that it requires you to conspire in the dark? We're not conspiring, Elias shot back. Just discussing our concerns about the academy and its hidden secrets. Victor raised an eyebrow. Concerns? Such as what, Elias? That your powers will get out of control again. He laughed mockingly. I've seen that happen before. Elias clenched his fists, feeling the behemoth stir within him. Don't push it. Oh, I can push anything, Victor said smugly. That's why I'll eventually rule this place. But for now, let us enjoy our campfire and marshmallows like civilized beings. We have a training session to attend tomorrow. As Victor strolled away, Elias glared at him. I won't forget that. Forget it, the mysterious stranger said quietly. We don't need his kind of attention right now. Elias nodded, but he couldn't shake off the feeling that something was very wrong with Victor and the academy. He would have to tread carefully if he wanted to uncover the truth behind their world. Meanwhile, in a dimly lit alcove near the dormitory, the mentor met with a shadowy figure. It's been too long since we last spoke, the mentor said, his voice barely above a whisper. I've grown concerned about the academy and its direction. Yes, I know, the figure replied, his voice echoing ominously. But it cannot be helped. You must trust me, old friend. The mentor hesitated before nodding reluctantly. I'll do what I can to help you, but I won't let this academy fall into ruin. As you wish, the figure said, vanishing into darkness. The mentor watched as the last of him disappeared, feeling a heavy weight settle on his shoulders. He knew that he had made a dangerous pact, one that could cost him everything he held dear. But for now, he would continue to guide Elias and protect the students, all while keeping his secrets hidden. As the night wore on, Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger returned to their dormitory, each lost in thought about the events of the evening. Unbeknownst to them, they were not alone in their curiosity and suspicions, for Victor and the mentor both harbored secrets that could change their lives forever. The tension grew within the academy, as students struggled with the weight of their powers, and the knowledge that they were being used for unknown purposes. The balance between humans and behemoths hung precariously, and it would only take one wrong move to shatter the fragile peace that held them together. The cool evening air whispered through the bustling academy courtyard as Elias sat by a crackling campfire, roasting marshmallows with Zara and the mysterious stranger. Their laughter echoed off the ancient stone walls, momentarily silencing the unease that crept in their hearts. "I've been having strange dreams again," Zara confessed, her gaze fixed on the dancing flames. "Visions of battles I've never fought, enemies I don't recognize." The mysterious stranger looked thoughtful. "Maybe it's just your power evolving." Elias shook his head, a frown tugging at his features. "It feels different this time. I can't shake the feeling that something is wrong." A sudden gust of wind extinguished the fire, plunging them into darkness. The silence stretched out, heavy with tension as they waited for their eyes to adjust. Elias reached for his staff, the bond between him, his behemoth partner tingling in response. "What was that?" Zara whispered, her voice trembling. "Let's find out," the mysterious stranger said, leading them towards a dimly lit alcove near the dormitory. As they approached, they could hear hushed voices whispering in the shadows. Elias' heart pounded as they crept closer, his instincts screaming at him to run. The voices stopped abruptly, replaced by the sound of footsteps fading into the distance. "What do you think they were talking about?" Zara asked, her voice low and anxious. The mysterious stranger looked troubled. "I don't know, but it doesn't feel good." As they made their way back to the campfire, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that his fears were justified. The whispers in the dark seemed like a warning, a call for him to uncover the truth about the academy and its hidden secrets. Later that night, as Elias lay awake in his dormitory bed, he swore he could hear voices echoing through the stone corridors. His dreams were filled with visions of the mentor and Victor locked in a heated argument, their words laced with anger and betrayal. In the morning, Victor's mocking comments about Elias's powers getting out of control stung more than ever before. The tension between them had reached a boiling point, and Elias knew that something had to give. As the day wore on, Elias found himself drawn back to the dimly lit alcove near the dormitory. He could feel the bond with his behemoth partner growing stronger, urging him to uncover the truth about their world. Elias returned to the campfire later that evening, his mind swirling with questions and doubts. The mysterious stranger met his gaze, her eyes filled with a similar weight. Together, they shared a knowing look, both sensing the impending storm brewing within the academy's walls. The night stretched on, the flames flickering and dancing as Elias pondered the secrets that lay hidden in the shadows. As he gazed into the fire, he felt a strange sense of calm wash over him. He knew that the truth was out there, waiting to be uncovered, and he was determined to find it. The tension between Victor and Elias continued to escalate, the atmosphere at the academy growing thick with unease. As each day passed, it seemed as though danger lurked around every corner. Little did they know that the greatest threat of all lay hidden within their ranks. As the sun set on another restless night, Elias stood on the edge of the courtyard, staring up at the stars. The bond with his behemoth partner hummed softly in his mind, guiding him towards the truth. And as he looked out over the academy, he knew that no matter what lay ahead, he would face it head-on. The reclaimed behemoth's academy under the crackling campfire, Elias and Zara share roasted marshmallows in the bustling courtyard. The air hums with anticipation as students gather around a tattered scroll that mysteriously appeared near their dormitory. They huddle together, eager to uncover its secrets. Elias: "I can't shake this feeling that something isn't right about this place." Zara: "You're not the only one who feels uneasy." Elias. Their conversation is interrupted by the arrival of Victor, who playfully teases Elias about his growing powers. Victor: "Elias darling, I think it's time for a reality check. You need to learn control before you hurt someone." As Elias struggles with his newfound abilities and the weight of his past, he feels a cold shiver run down his spine. His eyes meet the mysterious stranger's, who offers him an understanding nod. The tension between Elias and Victor grows more palpable as they exchange heated glances. In a dimly lit alcove near the dormitory, the mentor meets with the shadowy figure from earlier encounters. His voice trembles with a mixture of fear and determination. "Mentor, I never thought it would come to this." "Stranger, circumstances change, but our goals remain the same. Remember what we swore on the ashes of the old world." Meanwhile, Elias confronts Victor in an isolated corner of the courtyard. "Elias, I've seen your true colors, Victor. I won't let you manipulate me or anyone else anymore." "Victor, manipulation? You're just jealous because you can't keep up." As they square off, Elias feels a surge of anger and power coursing through his veins. He clenches his fists, ready to defend himself and those around him. The tension between the two escalates until the mysterious stranger intervenes, pulling Elias away before it turns into a full-blown conflict. "Elias, what's going on? Who are you?" "Stranger, that's a story for another time." "Elias, for now, we must tread carefully." The fire crackled and popped, casting flickering shadows on the faces of Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger gathered around it in an isolated corner of the bustling academy courtyard. Marshmallows roasted over the campfire, their sweet aroma mingling with the scent of ancient stone and the distant sound of behemoths roaring. Elias stared into the flames, lost in thought. The weight of his growing powers and the secrets buried within the academy weighed heavily upon him. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. "Elias," Zara said, her gaze steady. "We need to discuss what happened with Victor earlier." He sighed deeply. "I know. I don't understand why he behaves like this. It's as if there's a part of him that wants us to fail." The mysterious stranger leaned forward, his eyes gleaming in the firelight. "There may be more to Victor than meets the eye. I have reasons to believe he has hidden connections within the academy that could explain his behavior." Elias felt a chill run down his spine. He glanced at Zara, who nodded solemnly. The stranger continued, "I will share my story with you both soon. It may help answer some of your questions about Victor and the academy." As they ate their marshmallows in silence, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that danger lurked within their ranks. He remembered vividly a dream he had, one where he saw his mentor arguing fiercely with Victor. His heart raced at the thought of what it could mean. Later that night, as Elias lay in his dormitory bed, the dream came back to him with unsettling clarity. He sat up, his breath catching in his throat as he remembered every word exchanged between his mentor and Victor. The dream felt too real, too familiar. He couldn't shake the feeling that the lines between friend and foe were blurring even further. The next morning, Elias found himself drawn to a dimly lit alcove near the dormitory. It was a place he had never visited before, but something about it seemed important. Inside, he discovered an ancient scroll tattered with age. Carefully unrolling it, he saw that it contained a cryptic message warning of betrayal from within their ranks. Elias' heart raced as he read the words written centuries ago. "Trust none but your own instincts. Danger lurks where you least expect." He pocketed the scroll and left the alcove, his mind racing with newfound urgency. In the days that followed, Elias found himself growing distant from those around him. His once close relationship with Zara began to fray as he struggled to keep his suspicions in check. Victor continued to mock him mercilessly, feeding into Elias' growing unease. One evening, as they sat around another campfire, Victor turned to Elias with a smirk. "I hear you've been acting strange lately, Elias," he said. "Is it because your powers are getting out of control?" Elias bristled at the comment, his fists clenching at his sides. The fire crackled and popped as they faced off, the tension between them palpable. "I know what you're doing, Victor," Elias growled. "You think I don't see how you manipulate others, how you mock us for our fears and suspicions." Victor leaned back, his smile never wavering. "Oh, Elias, darling. You really are naive." Before either could speak again, the mysterious stranger intervened. "Enough," he said firmly. "We should focus on training, not petty squabbles." As they went their separate ways that night, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to happen. The dreams, the scroll, the tension between him and Victor. It all felt like pieces of a puzzle coming together. And as he looked around at his fellow students, he couldn't help but wonder who among them was truly on their side. The reclaimed Behemoth's academy amidst the bustling academy courtyard, Elias, Zara, and several other students huddled around a crackling campfire, roasting marshmallows with quiet determination etched on their faces. The fire's warm glow illuminated their tired expressions, but their eyes sparked with anticipation as they whispered about the upcoming trials. Elias glanced towards Victor, who stood apart from the group, casually sipping on a drink and eyeing them skeptically. A sense of unease settled over Elias's chest. He couldn't shake off the feeling that there was more to Victor than met the eye. "I can't believe we're doing this," Zara muttered, her voice barely audible above the crackling fire. "It's barbaric." Elias nodded in agreement as he stared into the flames. Memories of his past life began to surface, but they were fragmented and indistinct, leaving him feeling disoriented. He yearned for answers about who he once was and how he came to be at this academy. Suddenly, a shadowy figure appeared near the campfire, causing the students to jump in surprise. The mysterious stranger emerged from the darkness, his eyes glinting with curiosity as he regarded Elias and Zara. "I heard you were discussing the trials," he said, his voice smooth and melodic. "I couldn't help but overhear." Elias tensed, sensing a hidden agenda behind the stranger's words. He glanced around at the others, searching for understanding or support, but finding only confusion on their faces. "What do you want?" Victor growled, stepping closer to the stranger. "We don't need someone like you here." The mysterious stranger raised an eyebrow in response, a small smile playing at the corners of his lips. "I'm merely trying to help," he said, turning towards Elias. "You're quite strong for someone who has no memories of your past life. Your bond with behemoths is unlike anything I've ever seen." Elias hesitated, unsure whether to trust the stranger or not. He felt a tug in his heart, drawing him closer to this enigmatic figure who seemed to know more about him than anyone else at the academy. Before he could respond, however, a loud commotion erupted near the dormitory, causing everyone to jump to their feet. Students began running towards the source of the noise while Elias's mind raced with questions and fears. What was happening? Was it another test or something more sinister? He turned to the mysterious stranger, seeking answers, but found only a cryptic smile. "Come," he said, gesturing towards the commotion. "It seems we have much to learn." Elias hesitated for a moment before following the stranger, his heart pounding in his chest as he left Zara and the others behind. He couldn't shake off the feeling that this was a turning point, one that would change everything about who he was and what he believed in. As they made their way through the dimly lit alcove near the dormitory, Elias caught glimpses of strange symbols etched into the stone walls. He felt a shiver run down his spine as he realized that there were secrets hidden within these very stones, secrets that could shatter the fragile balance between humans and behemoths if they were discovered. They emerged from the alcove to find the dormitory in chaos, students shouting and pointing towards the isolated corner of the courtyard, where a group of behemoths had gathered. Elias's heart leaped into his throat as he recognized one of them. It was the same creature he had bonded with during his first day at the academy. The mentor, who appeared to have been attempting to calm the behemoths, stood frozen in shock as they roared and pawed at the ground, clearly agitated. Elias felt a surge of emotion rise within him. Fear, confusion. But before he could react, Victor stepped forward, smirking arrogantly. "What is going on here?" he demanded, striding towards the behemoths with an air of false bravado. "Is this some kind of test?" The mentor shook his head, looking weary and defeated. "I don't know what's happening," he said hoarsely. They've never acted like this before. As Elias watched the scene unfold, he felt a deep sense of unease creeping over him. He knew that something was wrong, not just with the behemoths, but with the academy itself and the people who ran it. He couldn't shake off the feeling that there were secrets hidden within these walls that could change everything. The mysterious stranger stepped forward, his eyes locked onto Victor's. "I believe I can help," he said softly. Victor sneered at him. "And what makes you think we need your help?" "I can handle this." But Elias knew differently. He felt a connection to the mysterious stranger, one that he couldn't explain but couldn't ignore either. He stepped forward, standing shoulder to shoulder with the stranger, as they faced Victor and the behemoths. "We need to find out what's causing this," Elias said firmly. "And we need to do it together." The mentor nodded, looking relieved by their show of unity. "I will help you in any way I can," he said, his voice heavy with emotion. "Be careful. But be careful, there are forces at work here that I don't fully understand." Elias nodded, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. He knew that whatever was happening with behemoths was connected to the secrets hidden within the academy, secrets that could change everything about who he was and what he believed in. He vowed to uncover those secrets, no matter the cost. As they ventured deeper into the mystery of the behemoth's behavior, Elias felt a growing sense of unease about his own past and the role he was meant to play in this world. But he couldn't shake off the feeling that the answers were there, hidden within the ancient stones and cryptic symbols that surrounded him. With a crackling campfire illuminating their faces, Elias, Zara, and other students huddled together in the academy courtyard, sharing stories of their past lives as the moon shone overhead. Elias's thoughts lingered on the cryptic warning from the ancient scroll. Betrayal lurked within their ranks. "I still can't shake off this feeling that something isn't quite right," Elias confided in Zara, his eyes flickering towards the dimly lit alcove near the dormitory. "The behemoths are acting strangely, and now Victor seems to be avoiding me." Zara nodded somberly. "It's not like him to distance himself from you. And those behemoths, I've never seen anything like it." A sudden rustle in the bushes interrupted their conversation, causing Elias to tense. The mysterious stranger emerged from the shadows, his eyes locked onto Elias with a knowing smile. "I see you're still plagued by doubts, Elias," he said, approaching them. "But fear not, for I can help you uncover the truth." The campfire crackled and popped as Elias exchanged wary glances with Zara. The stranger gestured towards the fire, inviting them to join him. "Let us sit a while, share stories, and perhaps we may find some answers." As they sat around the fire, the mysterious stranger recounted tales of his past life, filling in Elias on the complex history between himself, Victor, and their mentor. A deep sadness tinged his voice as he spoke of a time when humans and behemoths lived harmoniously together, before greed and ambition shattered their alliance. "But that was then," he said, gazing into the flames. "Now we must forge a new path, one where our powers can coexist with the behemoths." "They are not enemies, Elias, but allies in this struggle to survive." Elias listened intently, his mind racing as he tried to make sense of it all. Victor's behavior was becoming more erratic and secretive, fueling Elias's suspicions that the ancient scroll's warning may have been aimed at him. The next day, during training, Victor approached Elias with a mocking smile. "I see you've been talking to the stranger again," he said, his eyes cold and calculating. "Your powers are getting out of control, Elias. Perhaps it's time for us to part ways." Elias bristled at Victor's words, his fists clenching tight as a low growl rumbled in his chest. Zara stepped between them, her eyes flashing with determination. "Enough," she said sternly. "We're a team, and we stand together. Whatever issues you have, take it up with the council." Victor's smile faltered for a moment before he nodded curtly and stalked away. Elias couldn't shake off the feeling that Victor's words would soon prove prophetic. They were on a collision course, and the consequences could be dire. That night, Elias and Zara made their way to the dimly lit alcove near the dormitory, determined to uncover the truth behind Victor's behavior and the strange occurrences plaguing the academy. The mysterious stranger awaited them there, his eyes gleaming with excitement at their determination. "I knew you would come," he said as they approached. "Now, let us delve deeper into the secrets of this academy." As they ventured further, discovered hidden passages and ancient artifacts that hinted at a darker truth lurking within the walls of the reclaimed Behemoth's academy. Together, Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger would uncover the academy's true purpose and face the dangerous consequences of their discoveries. The reclaimed Behemoth's academy, the crackling campfire cast flickering shadows on faces, gathered in an isolated corner of the bustling academy courtyard. Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger sat around it, roasting marshmallows and sharing stories from their past lives. The air was charged with tension as they discussed the cryptic warning about betrayal within their ranks. "I've been thinking about this warning," Elias began, gazing into the fire. "What if it's true? What if someone we trust is working against us?" Zara narrowed her eyes. "We can't let our fears control us. We have to trust each other and stay vigilant." The mysterious stranger nodded in agreement, his eyes scanning the academy walls thoughtfully. "There are things I haven't told you about my past here, and about the mentor," he said cryptically. Suddenly, a commotion erupted near the dormitory. A behemoth, once tame and docile, now roared in pain and rage, thrashing against its restraints. Students rushed to contain it, but Victor was already there, sneering at Elias. "Looks like we have another problem," he smirked. "Perhaps you should focus on your own powers before judging others." Elias's grip tightened around his staff as he stared at Victor, seething. The behemoth's cries echoed through the courtyard, a grim reminder of the power they wielded and the consequences it held. A heavy silence hung over the academy courtyard as students exchanged worried glances. The behemoth's roars echoed through the stone walls, its rage palpable even at a distance. Elias stood in the isolated corner of the bustling courtyard, his eyes locked on Victor, who struggled to contain the enraged creature. The mysterious stranger approached Elias, her gaze never leaving Victor and the behemoth. "I think we should talk," she said quietly. Elias turned to her, a frown etched onto his face. Later. He couldn't tear himself away from the scene unfolding before him. The mysterious stranger hesitated, then nodded. "As you wish," she replied, retreating into the shadows of an alcove near the dormitory. The academy's mentor stood atop a stone pedestal in the courtyard, watching the struggle between Victor and the behemoth with concern. He closed his eyes, sensing something amiss within his charges. A frown creased his brow as he recalled his own past with Victor and the secrets that had driven them apart. The behemoth's roars grew louder, shaking the ground beneath their feet. Elias clenched his fists, feeling a surge of power coursing through him. He looked at the mentor, his gaze pleading for help as he struggled to control his own growing abilities. In the dimly lit alcove near the dormitory, the mysterious stranger opened the ancient, tattered scroll she'd found earlier. Her eyes widened as she read the incriminating words written within. Betrayal had been among them all along. Zara stood beside the crackling campfire, her thoughts heavy with the weight of their situation. She knew they couldn't afford to let fear control them, but it was becoming increasingly difficult to ignore the danger lurking within their ranks. As the behemoth finally calmed, Victor approached Elias, a smug smile on his face. "I handled that rather well, don't you think?" he said, mocking Elias's earlier concerns about his abilities. Elias clenched his fists, his eyes flashing with anger as he glared at Victor. He knew the truth now, and he wouldn't let Victor slip through his grasp again. The time for games was over. The reclaimed Behemoth's Academy, a crackling campfire illuminated the faces of Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger as they huddled together in an isolated corner of the bustling academy courtyard. Marshmallows roasted on sticks danced in the fire's glow, casting elongated shadows that seemed to whisper secrets long forgotten. "I can feel it," Elias said, his voice trembling with uncertainty. "Something is wrong." "The behemoths are growing restless." Zara looked up from her marshmallow and met Elias' eyes. "We all feel it, Elias. But what can we do? We're just students." The mysterious stranger leaned closer to the fire, his gaze fixed on the flames. "I think I might have found something that could help," he whispered. His words caught both Elias and Zara off guard, and they exchanged a confused look. The stranger pulled out an ancient, tattered scroll from his pocket and unfurled it carefully, revealing faded ink that spoke of hidden secrets within the academy. As he read aloud, Elias's eyes widened in shock, his heart pounding in his chest. This can't be real," he stammered, looking at Zara for confirmation. Zara leaned in closer to the scroll, her brow furrowed in concentration. "It seems authentic enough," she said hesitantly. "But what does it mean?" The mysterious stranger met Elias' gaze. "It means that we might be on the brink of discovering a dark truth about our mentor and someone else within our ranks." He lowered his voice to a near whisper, glancing around nervously before continuing. "I fear that Victor knows more than he lets on." Elias' eyes narrowed at the mention of Victor's name. We need to find out what he knows, he said decisively. But how? If we go to him with this information, it could endanger us all. Zara leaned back against a nearby wall, her expression thoughtful. We'll have to be careful, she said. If Victor is indeed involved in something sinister, we don't want to provoke him without solid evidence. The mysterious stranger nodded slowly. I agree, but I fear that time may be running out. The behemoths grow restless, and if their anger turns against us, he trailed off, his voice heavy with worry. Elias stood up abruptly, his eyes blazing with determination. Then we act now, he declared. We confront Victor together, as a team. Zara hesitated for a moment before nodding in agreement. We'll do it, she said firmly. But let's be cautious and prepared. We don't know what we're walking into. As the three stood up to leave the campfire, a sudden roar echoed through the academy courtyard. A powerful behemoth, its muscles rippling with uncontained energy, charged towards them, sending students scattering in fear. The three quickly reacted, Elias summoning his bonded behemoth to shield them, while the mysterious stranger grabbed the tattered scroll and ran for cover. Zara grabbed Elias' arm, her eyes wide with fear. We need to get out of here, she shouted over the chaos. Elias nodded, directing his behemoth to follow the mysterious stranger as they raced through the academy, avoiding traps and obstacles in their path. As they ran, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss, that there were deeper secrets lurking within the academy walls, waiting to be uncovered. In a dimly lit alcove near the dormitory, Victor stood with a group of masked individuals, watching as the chaos unfolded. His eyes gleamed with malicious delight, and he smiled coldly at his conspirators. This is just the beginning, he whispered menacingly. The academy will soon be ours. As Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger raced through the academy, they found themselves cornered by a group of aggressive behemoths that seemed to be under someone's control. The strange roars and growls filled the air, sending shivers down their spines. Elias struggled to maintain his bond with his behemoth, fighting off waves of fear and anger from the surrounding creatures. He felt a surge of determination as he remembered the scroll, the evidence that could prove Victor's betrayal. Zara fought fiercely alongside him, her sword flashing through the air as she hacked at the attacking behemoths. The mysterious stranger, meanwhile, pulled out the tattered scroll and tore it into pieces, scattering them across the floor in a desperate bid for distraction. As the chaos continued, Elias felt a surge of power coursing through him, a power that seemed to come from deep within himself. He closed his eyes, focusing on the bond between him and his behemoth, channeling their combined strength into a single attack that sent the behemoths reeling. With their foes momentarily subdued, Elias looked around, searching for any sign of Victor or his conspirators, but they were nowhere to be found. He knew, however, that this was far from over, that the true battle had only just begun. As Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger stood panting in the aftermath, the academy's mentor approached them, his face a mask of concern. What happened here? He asked quietly. Elias looked up at him, his eyes filled with anger and determination. We found something, he said hoarsely. Something that suggests Victor is involved in a dark conspiracy within the academy. The mentor's expression hardened, and for a moment, Elias saw a flicker of recognition pass through his eyes. But before he could say anything, Zara spoke up. We have to tell everyone, she declared firmly. This can't be kept a secret any longer. The mentor nodded slowly, his gaze fixed on the ground. I agree, he said quietly. But we must be careful. We don't know who else might be involved. As they walked back to their dormitory, Elias felt a strange mix of emotions coursing through him. He knew that uncovering the truth would shake the very foundations of the academy, and possibly tear apart those he had come to consider friends. But he also knew that he couldn't ignore what he had discovered. In his heart, Elias knew that he would stop at nothing to bring Victor's betrayal to light, even if it meant risking everything he had come to love about the academy and its people. For in a world where behemoths reigned supreme, the fate of humanity hung in the balance, and Elias was determined to make a stand. As they reached their dormitory, the mentor turned to Elias and Zara, his eyes filled with a mix of sadness and understanding. I'll help you, he said quietly. But be prepared, this will not be easy. Elias nodded, feeling a sense of determination wash over him. He knew that the road ahead would be fraught with danger and uncertainty, but he also knew that he couldn't back down now, not when the fate of humanity hung in the balance. With the mentor at their side, Elias Zara, and the mysterious stranger prepared to take on whatever challenges lay ahead, ready to uncover the dark secrets buried within the Academy's walls and bring Victor's betrayal to light. For they knew that in a world where behemoths ruled, only the strongest could survive, and they were determined to prove themselves worthy. As they stood together, united in their purpose, Elias couldn't help but feel a sense of hope. He may not remember his past, but he knew that he had a role to play in this new world, one that would test the limits of his courage and determination. And as he looked out at the bustling academy courtyard, he felt a renewed sense of purpose wash over him. The road ahead was long and treacherous, but Elias knew that he wouldn't face it alone. With friends by his side and a mentor to guide him, he would confront whatever challenges lay ahead, ready to stand up for humanity and ensure the balance between humans and behemoths remained intact. For Elias, the journey had only just begun, but he knew that with each step, he was one step closer to uncovering the truth and ensuring the survival of his people. And as he looked out at the world before him, he felt a sense of pride swell within him. In a world where behemoths reigned supreme, Elias would stand tall, ready to face whatever challenges came his way and emerge victorious. For in this new world he was no longer just a human, he was something more. He was the chosen one, destined to change the course of history and ensure the survival of humanity. And as he stood there, bathed in the glow of the setting sun, Elias knew that he wouldn't let his people down. The flickering campfire cast an eerie light upon Elias' face as he stared intently at the tattered scroll before him, his heart racing with anticipation and dread. The mysterious stranger sat beside him, marshmallows roasting over the crackling fire, lost in their own thoughts. "So we know about this conspiracy," Elias said, breaking the silence. "But who could be behind it, and what is their end game?" The stranger took a deep breath, hesitating before speaking. "I have reason to believe our mentor may not be as loyal as he seems." Elias' eyes widened in shock. "Our mentor? There's more," the stranger said, their voice barely audible. "Victor has been hiding something as well. Something about you and him from long ago." The young man felt a chill run down his spine. "What do you mean?" he asked, fighting to keep his voice steady. "I found fragments of evidence," the stranger replied, pulling out another scroll. "It seems they were once close friends, but something caused them to part ways." The stranger hesitated again, then continued. "And it appears that Victor has been manipulating you since your arrival here." Elias was stunned, his mind racing with questions and doubts about the people he trusted most. He glanced over at Zara, who sat quietly, her eyes never leaving the behemoth's training nearby. "I thought I knew them," Elias murmured, shaking his head in disbelief. "But it seems everything I thought I knew was a lie." The stranger placed a hand on Elias' shoulder. "You must trust your instincts and confront both of them. We can't let this secret bring our world to ruin." As the night wore on, Elias pondered his next move. He knew he couldn't keep this secret hidden any longer. With a newfound determination, he decided it was time to uncover the truth and reveal the betrayal before it was too late. Meanwhile, Victor sat alone in a dimly lit alcove near the dormitory. His eyes narrowed as he watched Elias and the mysterious stranger through the shadows. A sly smile played on his lips as he plotted his next move. The reclaimed Behemoth's Academy. The evening air was cool and crisp as the students gathered around a crackling campfire in the academy courtyard, roasting marshmallows and sharing stories under the watchful eyes of their mentors. Elias sat apart from the others, lost in thought as he watched the flames dance before him. His mind was preoccupied with the mysterious stranger's words about Victor's past alliance with someone hidden within the academy. He had tried to brush it off, but something deep inside him told him not to trust his fellow student. As Elias pondered the implications of this revelation, he couldn't shake the feeling that there were secrets hidden somewhere in the academy walls. He glanced around nervously, wondering if anyone else was aware of the danger lurking within their ranks. Meanwhile, Victor smirked as he observed Elias from afar. The young man had become too suspicious for his own good, and it was only a matter of time before he uncovered Victor's true intentions. Victor decided to take action, approaching Elias under the guise of friendship. "Hey, Elias," he said, sitting down beside him. "I couldn't help but notice you seem troubled." Elias tensed at Victor's approach, glancing warily at his fellow student. "You could say that," he replied curtly. "It seems like everyone here has something to hide." Victor laughed, leaning back casually. "Oh, come now, Elias. We all have secrets. It's part of being powerful. But I assure you, there's nothing to worry about." "Is that so?" Elias asked skeptically. "Then why do I feel like we're not telling the whole truth?" Victor feigned confusion. "What are you talking about?" "We've been friends since the academy started, and I've always been open with you." "That's what worries me," Elias replied, his voice filled with tension. "You're too good at pretending to be someone you're not." Victor's smile faded, and he leaned in closer. "Elias, we've been through a lot together. Don't let this paranoia consume you. Trust me." But Elias wasn't so easily swayed. He stood up abruptly, sending his marshmallow rolling into the fire. "I don't think I can trust anyone here anymore," he said, staring directly into Victor's eyes. "Not even you." With a cold glare, Victor watched as Elias stormed off towards the dormitory, his suspicions growing stronger with each passing moment. He knew that he couldn't let Elias uncover the truth about their past. It was time to take drastic measures. In an isolated corner of the bustling academy courtyard, Elias found himself drawn towards a dimly lit alcove near the dormitory. As he approached, he heard hushed voices emanating from within. He hesitated for a moment before deciding to investigate further. As he peered into the darkness, his eyes adjusted to reveal two figures huddled together, deep in conversation. One of them was unmistakable. It was the mentor who had taken him under his wing and taught him so much about behemoths. The other figure was a stranger Elias didn't recognize, but something about their posture seemed familiar. "And I can assure you that our plan is progressing as planned," the stranger said, their voice barely a whisper. The mentor nodded gravely. "I trust your judgment, old friend, but we must be careful." Elias has grown suspicious, and if he uncovers the truth, Elias' heart raced as he listened to their conversation. His mind reeled with shock and betrayal. Could his mentor really be working against him? And what about Victor? Was there more to his behavior than just simple manipulation? As Elias slipped away from the alcove, he knew that he could no longer trust anyone in the academy. He had to find a way to expose the truth and save both himself and humanity from those who sought power at any cost. But first, he needed allies, and time was running out. Meanwhile, Victor watched Elias' departure from the campfire with growing anger. His plan had almost been discovered, and now he would have to act quickly if he wanted to maintain control over the academy and its powerful students. He turned to his fellow conspirator, a cold smile playing on his lips. "It seems our little friend has grown suspicious," Victor said, his voice dripping with venom. "We must move swiftly to ensure that he doesn't expose our secrets." The stranger nodded in agreement. "I agree. We need to eliminate the threat before it becomes too great." Victor's eyes narrowed as a sinister plan began to form in his mind. He knew just how to deal with those who threatened his power, and Elias was no exception. As the night wore on, the shadows of deceit grew longer, casting a pall over the academy and its students. But Elias was not so easily defeated. He knew that he had powerful allies within the academy, and he would stop at nothing to uncover the truth about his past and those who sought to manipulate him. As the sun began to rise, Elias stood tall amidst the chaos, ready to confront Victor and his hidden faction once and for all. Under the crackling campfire, Elias stared into the flames as marshmallows roasted on skewers. The warm glow illuminated his tired face, casting shadows that danced across his features. The other students were scattered around the fire, engaged in hushed conversations and laughter. Lost in the simple pleasure of shared camaraderie, Elias's thoughts drifted back to a dimly lit alcove near their dormitory, where he found the mentor in secret conference with an unknown stranger. The sight still haunted him, stirring feelings of betrayal and confusion that gnawed at his mind like a relentless beast. A hand on his shoulder jolted Elias from his thoughts. It was Zara, her eyes filled with concern. "You seem troubled, my friend," she said gently. "Can I help?" I don't know, Elias stammered, looking away from her. I just can't shake the feeling that something's not right. Zara's gaze turned hard as she noticed Victor making his way towards them. Victor, she growled, standing up straight. Have you no respect for privacy? Oh, Zara, Victor said with a mocking smile. You're always so serious. Can't you just enjoy the moment? Besides, I heard Elias here was looking troubled. What's got your feathers ruffled, little one? Elias tensed, his eyes flashing with anger. Victor had never spoken to him like that before, but there was something in his tone that sent a shiver down Elias's spine. Stay out of it, Victor, Zara warned, her voice low and dangerous. I won't let you harm him. Victor's smile widened as he took a step closer to Elias, leaning in so that his breath was hot against the younger man's ear. Oh, I have every intention of harming him, he whispered, his eyes glinting with malice. Elias felt the blood drain from his face as realization dawned on him. Victor knew about what he had witnessed in the alcove near their dormitory. He knew about the betrayal, and he was using it against Elias. But Elias wouldn't let Victor win. Not without a fight. I won't be bullied by you, Elias said, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside him. And I won't stand idly by while you manipulate others. Victor laughed, a cold sound that made Elias's blood run cold. You have no idea what I'm capable of, little one, Victor said, stepping back with a smirk. But we'll see how well you fare when the time comes. As Victor turned to leave, Zara stepped between them, her eyes flashing dangerously. Don't underestimate us, Victor, she growled. We won't let you hurt Elias or anyone else here. Victor's smile never wavered as he walked away, leaving Elias and Zara alone by the fire. The flames seemed to flicker and dance with malevolent intent, casting eerie shadows across their faces. Elias knew that the danger within their ranks was growing, and he couldn't shake the feeling that what he had uncovered would shatter their world apart. But he also knew that he wouldn't back down, no matter the cost. He would expose the truth and protect those around him, even if it meant facing his former friend and mentor in a battle that could determine the fate of humanity. The night grew colder as Elias stared into the flames, his resolve hardening like steel. No matter what came, he would stand strong and face whatever challenges lay ahead. He was not just a student at the reclaimed Behemoth's Academy, he was a fighter, and he wouldn't let anyone take that away from him. The reclaimed Behemoth's Academy, the sky darkened as night descended upon the academy courtyard. A crackling campfire flickered amidst the shadows, casting an eerie light upon its gatherers, Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger. Skewered marshmallows danced above the flames, their sweet scent mingling with the smoky aroma of burning wood. Elias glanced nervously towards Victor, who stood apart from them in the dimly lit alcove near their dormitory. He couldn't shake off the uneasy feeling that something was amiss. The stranger caught Elias's gaze and nodded subtly, offering a silent reassurance. I still can't believe Victor would do this, Elias muttered, his voice barely audible above the crackling fire. Why would he turn against us? Zara grunted thoughtfully. We know he's been hiding something. Perhaps this is just another one of his power plays. But why go to such lengths? And why now? Elias asked, frustration creeping into his voice. He felt a growing tension within the academy, behemoths roaring in pain and rage throughout the night. Suddenly, the stranger leaned closer, eyes gleaming with a sense of urgency. I have information that might help you understand, he whispered, pulling out a tattered scroll from his pocket. As Elias and Zara peered at the ancient script, their eyes widened in shock. The parchment revealed a hidden meeting between Victor and the mentor in an isolated corner of the bustling academy courtyard. Their conversation was cryptic, but suggested that Victor had once been part of a secret faction within the academy, plotting to use behemoths for their own malevolent purposes. What do we do with this? Zara asked, her voice barely above a whisper. We can't just confront him without proof. Elias hesitated, his heart racing as he thought about the consequences of exposing Victor and potentially tearing their world apart. He glanced towards the dormitory, where Victor stood guard, watching them silently. I don't know, he admitted. But I can't ignore this anymore. We must confront him. The strangers nodded, a steely resolve etched upon his face. Then let us prepare for tomorrow. We will catch him off guard and present our evidence. With any luck, We might be able to expose his betrayal before it's too late. As the night wore on, Elias and Zara shared stories by the campfire, while the stranger remained vigilant, scanning the shadows for signs of danger. The tension between Victor and the others continued to simmer, threatening to erupt at any moment. Little did they know, their actions were being watched, observed, and calculated by a hidden enemy waiting to strike when least expected. The next day dawned with an air of foreboding as Elias and Zara approached Victor near the dormitory. The mysterious stranger stayed behind, watching from a safe distance. "Victor," Elias began, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "We have something to discuss." Victor raised an eyebrow, a sly smile playing upon his lips as he looked between them. "Oh? What could that be?" Elias pulled out the tattered scroll, displaying it for Victor to see. A look of surprise flickered across his face before turning into a sneer. "Where did you get this?" he asked, snatching the parchment from Elias's hands and examining it closely. "It doesn't matter where I got it," Elias retorted. "The evidence speaks for itself." Victor scoffed, tearing the scroll in half with a casual motion. "This is worthless." "You think you can use this against me?" Pathetic. Before either of them could react, Victor lunged at Elias, his eyes burning with anger and desperation. The fight was brief but intense, ending with Elias on the ground, winded and disoriented. Zara moved to help him up, but Victor's gaze shifted towards her, a cold warning in his eyes. "I warned you both to stay out of my business," he growled, backing away from them. "But if you continue meddling, I won't hesitate to eliminate the threat." As Victor disappeared into the crowd, Elias felt a knot of fear tightening in his stomach. He knew that they had only scratched the surface of the danger within their ranks. The mysterious stranger emerged from hiding, offering a grim nod as he approached them. "We must leave," he said, urgency lacing his voice. "Victor will not rest until we are silenced." Elias nodded, determination hardening his features. "I won't let him win. We have to expose him and protect the academy." The mysterious stranger offered a small smile. "Then let us work together. I have connections that might help us uncover more about this secret faction. But be warned, the truth may be dangerous even for someone like you." Around a crackling campfire in an isolated alcove near the dormitory, Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger roasted marshmallows. The fire flickered, casting shadows over their faces as they shared stories of their lives before the academy. Elias's eyes flickered, lost in thoughts of his past. He had no memories but a persistent feeling that something was amiss within the academy walls. His powers were growing stronger by the day, and with each passing moment, he could feel the weight of the secrets he carried. Zara, her fierce expression, softened by the firelight, watched Elias carefully. Her own past remained a mystery, but she knew what it meant to fight for survival in this world. She had seen many students succumb to the pressures of the academy and the demands of their newfound powers. The mysterious stranger, his face hidden by shadows, spoke softly, sharing tales from his time among the behemoths. Elias listened intently, sensing a connection between the stories and the secrets he sought. Suddenly, Victor strode into the alcove, a mocking smirk on his face. "What's this?" he asked, eyeing the marshmallows on skewers. "A little campfire rendezvous. I hope you're not planning to betray me." Elias tensed, feeling the anger and suspicion simmering beneath Victor's words. He rose to face him, his own suspicions about Victor growing stronger with each passing day. Victor laughed coldly. "I see you've been talking to Zara and this mysterious stranger here." He gestured towards the shadowed figure beside Elias. "You think you can take me on?" Zara stepped between them, her eyes flashing with determination. "We won't let you harm him," she growled. Victor sneered. "I'm not here to fight you, Zara," he said dismissively. "I just wanted to remind Elias that I'm always watching." With a final mocking laugh, Victor turned and walked away, leaving the three of them alone once more. The fire crackled softly, casting a warm glow over their faces as they stared into its flames. The tension hung heavy in the air, unspoken words hanging between them like smoke. Elias knew that he couldn't ignore Victor's threats any longer. He turned to Zara and the mysterious stranger. "We need to find a way to expose Victor and his faction before it's too late." Zara nodded, her eyes hard. "I'll help you," she said fiercely. "But we must be careful. We don't know who we can trust. The mysterious stranger spoke for the first time since Victor had arrived. I have connections that could help us, he said quietly. Together, we might be able to uncover the truth about what's happening within the academy. Elias felt a glimmer of hope. With Zara and this mysterious stranger on his side, he knew they stood a chance against Victor and the hidden faction threatening their world. But as he looked into the fire, he couldn't shake the feeling that their journey would be far from easy. The path ahead was fraught with danger, and he knew that they must be prepared for whatever lay in store. As the night wore on, the three of them pledged to work together to uncover the truth about the academy and its hidden secrets. They knew that their lives, and perhaps the fate of humanity itself, depended on it. Little did they know, danger lurked closer than any of them imagined. In the dimly lit alcove, the crackling fire cast shadows over their faces as they forged a bond that would see them through the trials and tribulations to come. But as the night wore on, the whispers of behemoths roaring in pain and rage could be heard from afar, a grim reminder of the challenges that lay ahead. Their journey was just beginning, and they knew that it wouldn't be an easy one. But with each other by their side, they would face whatever came their way head-on, determined to protect themselves and those around them from the malevolent forces threatening their world. As the night gave way to dawn, Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger left the alcove, ready to confront whatever lay ahead. The academy was filled with secrets, and they were determined to uncover them, no matter the cost. Their bond had been forged in fire, and it would guide them through the darkest of times. Together, they would face the unknown, fighting for a chance at survival in a world where behemoths reigned supreme. The path ahead was uncertain, but they knew that together they stood a chance against even the greatest of odds. With determination burning in their hearts, they stepped out into the bustling academy courtyard, ready to face whatever lay ahead and uncover the truth about the academy and its hidden secrets. They knew that their journey would be fraught with danger and hardship, but they were prepared to face it all head-on, for the sake of themselves and humanity itself. The academy was a place of magic, mystery, and power, but it was also a crucible where the strongest would rise and the weakest would fall. And as Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger ventured forth into the unknown, they knew that they were destined to be part of the story that would shape their world forever. In the days and nights that followed, they would face challenges beyond their wildest dreams, but they would also make friends and allies who would stand by them until the very end. Together, they would forge a new path in a world where behemoths ruled supreme, and in doing so, they might just save humanity from certain doom. But as they walked away from the fire, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that their journey had only just begun, and that the greatest challenges still lay ahead. He knew that he would have to confront his past and uncover the secrets buried deep within him if he hoped to succeed in this new world. And as he looked into the dawning sun, he resolved to face whatever came his way with courage and determination. For now, though, he allowed himself a moment of respite, basking in the warmth of the fire and the camaraderie of his newfound friends. Together, they stood ready to face the unknown and forge a new path in this world, where behemoths reigned supreme. And as the first rays of sunlight kissed their faces, Elias knew that he would never forget this moment, and the bond that had been forged in the heart of the fire. As they walked away from the campfire alcove, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that their journey was just beginning. He knew that he would have to confront his past and uncover the secrets buried deep within him if he hoped to succeed in this new world. And as he looked into the dawning sun, he resolved to face whatever came his way with courage and determination. Their bond had been forged in fire, and it would guide them through the darkest of times. Together, they would face the unknown, fighting for a chance at survival in a world where behemoths ruled supreme. The path ahead was uncertain, but they knew that together, they stood a chance against even the greatest of odds. In the days and nights that followed, they would face challenges beyond their wildest dreams, but they would also make friends and allies who would stand by them until the very end. Together, they would forge a new path in a world where behemoths ruled supreme, and in doing so, they might just save humanity from certain doom. But as they walked away from the fire, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that their journey had only just begun. and that the greatest challenges still lay ahead. He knew that he would have to confront his past and uncover the secrets buried deep within him if he hoped to succeed in this new world. And as he looked into the dawning sun, he resolved to face whatever came his way with courage and determination. The academy was a place of magic, mystery, and power, but it was also a crucible where the strongest would rise and the weakest would fall. And as Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger ventured forth into the unknown, they knew that they were destined to be part of the story that would shape their world forever. Episode 28 ended with Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger stepping out into the bustling academy courtyard, determined to uncover the truth about the academy and its hidden secrets. As they faced the challenges ahead, they knew that their bond forged in fire would guide them through the darkest of times, and together, they stood a chance against even the greatest of odds. The reclaimed Behemoth's academy. The flickering glow of the campfire cast eerie shadows on Elias and Zara's faces as they sat huddled around marshmallows on skewers, roasting them over the crackling flames. The bustling academy courtyard seemed miles away, replaced by the serenity of their secret alcove near their dormitory. Elias couldn't shake a feeling of unease from his mind, haunting him like the whispers of forgotten memories. He glanced at Zara, her fierce gaze intense and focused on the fire as she contemplated the danger lurking in their midst. Suddenly, the silence was broken by footsteps approaching their secluded hideaway. Elias' heart raced as he tensed, his senses alerting him to potential danger. The mysterious stranger emerged from the shadows, carrying a tattered scroll that seemed to radiate with an energy unlike anything they had ever encountered before. "What is this?" Elias demanded, reaching out to take the scroll. His touch sent waves of raw power surging through his body, causing him to recoil in pain. "I've never felt anything like this before." Zara and the stranger exchanged knowing glances as they watched Elias struggle with the artifact's power. The stranger spoke softly. "This scroll is a key to uncovering our past, Elias, but it comes at great cost." The words hung heavy in the air as the three stood around the campfire, contemplating their next move. Unbeknownst to them, Victor watched from the shadows, his eyes filled with malicious delight as he observed their growing bond. The game was far from over, and the stakes were higher than ever before. As Elias stared at the tattered scroll in his hands, he couldn't help but wonder what horrors awaited them on the path to uncovering the truth about their world and their past lives. But one thing was certain: they could no longer ignore the danger within their ranks, and they would have to confront it head-on if they hoped to survive the impending apocalypse. In the heart of the bustling academy courtyard, Elias stood before the crackling campfire. Marshmallows on skewers danced above the flames as Zara and the mysterious stranger shared stories of their past lives under the starlit sky. The night seemed peaceful, but Elias's mind was preoccupied with thoughts of danger. "Something is off about Victor," he murmured to Zara. "I can feel it," Zara sighed. "We've known that for a while now, Elias, but we need concrete evidence if we want anyone else to listen." The mysterious stranger nodded in agreement. "That's why I've been searching the academy for anything that could help us prove Victor's treachery." Elias furrowed his brow as he recalled a strange encounter earlier in the day. He had caught the mentor meeting with an unknown individual in a dimly lit alcove near the dormitory. The mentor seemed unusually secretive, but Elias hadn't been able to hear their conversation. "I think I may have found something," Elias said, pulling out the tattered scroll he'd discovered earlier. "But touching it causes me great pain." Zara and the stranger exchanged worried glances before the mysterious stranger reached for the scroll. He examined it carefully, his eyes widening as he saw the strange symbols etched into its surface. "This is significant," he whispered, handing the scroll back to Elias. "But we need to be careful with it." As they continued their conversation, Victor watched from a distance, smirking at their growing unease. He was getting closer to his goal. Elias and this mysterious stranger were beginning to uncover the secrets he had been hiding all along. With every step they took, the stakes grew higher for Victor. Suddenly, a loud roar echoed through the courtyard. The behemoths seemed to sense the tension brewing among their human companions and reacted with aggression. Elias felt a surge of energy coursing through him as his powers began to grow out of control. He clenched his fists, trying to contain the power that threatened to consume him. "What's happening?" Zara shouted, her eyes wide with fear. "Here." Victor took advantage of the chaos, stepping forward and confronting Elias directly. "You can't control this power, Elias," he taunted. "You never could." The mysterious stranger intervened, stepping between Victor and Elias. "We'll find a way to help him," he said defiantly. "But first, we need to know the truth about you." Victor snarled, his eyes filled with malice. "You will never discover my secrets, stranger." "You can't handle the truth." As the conflict escalated, Elias struggled to maintain control over his powers. The behemoths continued to roar in pain and rage, sensing the tension between their human companions. Elias knew that he couldn't keep this up for much longer. Something had to change before it was too late. With a deep breath, Elias closed his eyes and focused on the tattered scroll. He felt a surge of energy coursing through him as the symbols etched themselves into his mind. The pain subsided slightly, but he could feel the cost of this newfound knowledge weighing heavily upon him. "I think I know what we have to do," Elias said, opening his eyes and staring directly at Victor. "We're going to expose your faction once and for all." Victor sneered, backing away with a mocking smile. "You may be able to control the behemoths, Elias, but you can never truly control destiny." The reclaimed Behemoths Academy, the bustling academy courtyard, was filled with students and behemoths alike, enjoying a rare moment of leisure time around a crackling campfire. Elias sat near the fire, roasting marshmallows on skewers, feeling uneasy as he looked over at Victor, who stood nearby, chatting with other students. Zara leaned against Elias' shoulder, her eyes scanning the crowd warily, and the mysterious stranger remained quiet, his gaze fixed on Victor. The tension in the air was palpable, making it difficult for anyone to fully enjoy the festivities. "Something is off with Victor," Zara murmured, her voice low enough so as not to alert anyone. "He seems too friendly all of a sudden." Elias nodded, agreeing with her sentiment, but the mysterious stranger spoke up. "I've noticed that as well. He's been acting strangely for some time now." The stranger's words lingered in the air, causing Elias to feel a chill run down his spine. He glanced at Victor once more, feeling an inner voice urging him to be cautious. "Perhaps you should speak with him," Zara suggested. "Maybe there's something we don't know." Elias hesitated, unsure if he was ready to confront Victor about his suspicions. He turned back to the campfire, poking at the flames and feeling their warmth spread through him. It had been a long time since he felt that sense of comfort from fire, but lately it seemed as though his connection with behemoths was growing stronger. "I don't think I'm ready for that yet," Elias replied, trying to hide the tremble in his voice. "But maybe you should talk to him. You're better at reading people than I am." Zara nodded, a determined look on her face. As she moved away from the campfire, she gave Elias one last glance, her eyes filled with concern. The mysterious stranger remained quiet, watching as Zara approached Victor. Elias continued to roast marshmallows, feeling his heart race as he watched Zara and Victor engage in conversation. He could sense the tension between them, but couldn't hear what they were saying. He longed to join the conversation, to finally confront Victor about his suspicions, but something held him back. Suddenly, a loud roar echoed through the academy courtyard, causing everyone to turn and look around in fear. A behemoth was seen pacing nervously near one of the dormitories, its eyes wide with terror. Elias could feel a surge of energy emanating from it, making his heart race even faster. He glanced at the mysterious stranger, who nodded slightly, acknowledging the danger. Elias quickly stood up, ready to confront the behemoth when Zara and Victor rushed over, their expression serious. "We need to help it," Zara said urgently. "It's in pain." Elias nodded, following her towards the dormitory, feeling a strange mix of fear and determination surge through him. He could sense that this wasn't just any behemoth. It was one of the Academy's most powerful creatures. If they didn't help it now, who knew what would happen? As they approached, Elias could see that the behemoth was indeed in agony, writhing on the ground as if in pain. He reached out tentatively, his hands trembling slightly as he touched its massive form. An image flashed through his mind, a memory of another behemoth, one he couldn't quite place, being tortured and killed by Victor. Elias felt a surge of rage course through him, making his eyes narrow with determination. He would not let this happen again. He would save the behemoth, no matter the cost. The others watched as Elias connected with Behemoth, feeling its pain and emotions as if they were his own. He could sense that something was wrong, deep within the creature's mind. As he delved deeper, he discovered a hidden corruption, something dark and twisted that threatened to consume the behemoth from within. Elias struggled to pull away, feeling the weight of the corruption dragging him down. But with Zara and the mysterious stranger by his side, he managed to break free, leaving the behemoth behind, seemingly healed but still weakened. As they stood there, catching their breaths, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that something was not right. He glanced at the mysterious stranger, who nodded solemnly, confirming his suspicions. "We need to warn the others," Zara said, her voice barely above a whisper. Something is happening within the academy. In the dimly lit alcove near their dormitory, Elias stared at the tattered scroll with a sense of dread that had been steadily growing since he found it. The others were asleep. Zara was already dreaming about her next fight, and the mysterious stranger seemed to be lost in thought. Elias touched the ancient parchment, feeling a jolt of pain that brought him back to reality. "What is it?" Zara asked, awakening from her slumber. Her eyes met his, and she could sense something was off. "You're hurting." Elias quickly let go of the scroll. "I don't know," he admitted, "but I feel like we should be careful with this thing. There's something ominous about it." Zara nodded, her face etched with concern. They exchanged a solemn glance before the mysterious stranger stirred, breaking their moment of silence. He looked at them both, then back at the scroll in Elias' hands. "I believe I know what it is," he said quietly. "We should discuss this properly when everyone is awake." Elias and Zara shared a look again, feeling the weight of the situation pressing down on them. They knew something was happening within the academy, something that could change everything they thought they knew about their new life here. The next morning during training, Victor approached Elias, smirking as he looked over his shoulder at the others. "I hear you've been making a scene with your powers lately," he said mockingly. "I think it's time we had a little chat." Elias felt his heart race, but he held his ground. "What do you mean?" Victor leaned in closer, whispering so only Elias could hear him. "It seems like your powers are getting out of control," he said menacingly. "I don't want any accidents happening here, do we?" Elias clenched his fists, trying to keep his emotions in check. He had a feeling Victor was hiding something, but he didn't know what. When they returned to their dormitory that evening, Elias found the mysterious stranger waiting for him in their isolated alcove near the fire. "I have some news," he said, his eyes serious. "There's a hidden faction within the academy, led by someone we both knew from our past lives." Elias felt a chill run down his spine. He could sense that this revelation would change everything. "What do you mean?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. The stranger took a deep breath before speaking. "I know it's hard to believe, but Victor is part of that faction," he said. "He wants to use the behemoths for his own malevolent purposes." Elias felt like the ground beneath him had given way. He couldn't believe that one of their closest friends could betray them all. He knew they would have to confront Victor, but he wasn't sure if they were ready for what might come next. As they sat in silence, Elias thought about the tattered scroll and the behemoth they had found near the dormitory. Could they all be connected? And if so, who was behind this hidden corruption within their ranks? The reclaimed behemoth's academy under a crackling campfire. Elias poked marshmallows with a stick, while Zara watched him intently from across the flames. The mysterious stranger stood nearby, keeping watch over their small group. It had been days since they discovered Victor's treachery, and the hidden faction within the academy plotting against them all. Elias frowned as he stared at the marshmallow on his skewer, trying to forget about the weight of the scroll and its secrets hidden within the folds. He could still feel the pain it caused him when he first touched it. The tattered artifact seemed to hold some connection to his past, but what that was remained unclear. "Elias," Zara said, breaking the silence. "I've been thinking." He looked up at her, raising an eyebrow. "About?" She hesitated, glancing towards the mysterious stranger before meeting Elias' gaze. "About the scroll and Victor's faction. I think we need to investigate further." Elias nodded slowly, agreeing with her sentiments. The scroll had caused him pain every time he held it, but it was more than just a simple artifact. It seemed to hold some connection to his past and the secrets of this world. He couldn't ignore that fact. Agreed, Elias said, setting down his marshmallow skewer. But we need to be careful. Zara nodded, her expression grim. I know. We can't let them catch us snooping around. The mysterious stranger stepped forward then, speaking in a quiet voice. We should discuss our plan. I have some knowledge about the academy that might help. Elias looked at him questioningly. Yes, the stranger said, his eyes flickering with hidden emotions. I've been here longer than any of you. Zara raised an eyebrow, clearly wary of this new development. Who are you exactly? And why have you chosen to help us? The stranger hesitated before responding. That's a long story, but for now, it doesn't matter. What matters is that I can help. Elias studied the mysterious stranger closely, trying to discern his true intentions. There was something about him that seemed off, and Elias couldn't shake the feeling of unease growing within him. Yet, he needed answers, and if this stranger could provide them, he would have to trust him for now. All right, Elias said, nodding slowly. Let's hear what you have to say. As they sat around the campfire, discussing their plan of action, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that danger lurked, just beyond their reach. He glanced over at Victor occasionally, watching him from afar as he spoke with others in the bustling academy courtyard. There was something off about Victor, and Elias knew it wasn't just his imagination. He had a feeling that they were running out of time, and if they didn't act quickly, their world would be plunged into chaos. With the mysterious stranger by his side, Elias felt a glimmer of hope. Together they could uncover the truth and ensure the survival of humanity within this strange new world dominated by behemoths. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the bustling academy courtyard. A campfire crackled and popped, its warmth a comforting presence amidst the chill of the evening air. Elias leaned over the fire, marshmallows on skewers held in his hands, the heat bringing a hint of comfort to his troubled thoughts. Zara sat next to him, her eyes scanning the academy walls, her gaze focused and unwavering. The mysterious stranger stood nearby, keeping watch as they all tried to make sense of the events unfolding around them. Elias, Zara said, breaking the silence. Something is off with Victor. You think so? Elias asked, turning to her. He took a marshmallow from his skewer and roasted it over the fire until it was golden brown. Yes, she replied, nodding. He's been acting strange lately. And when we spoke to him about the tattered scroll, he seemed agitated. Elias sighed, taking another marshmallow and impaling it on his skewer. I've felt that way since I touched the scroll, he said quietly, gazing into the flames. It's like it knows me, or something. We should find out what it is, Zara urged, and we need to do it quickly before Victor and his faction cause any more trouble. As they spoke, a sudden roar echoed through the courtyard, causing everyone nearby to look up in alarm. A behemoth, one of the massive creatures that ruled the world now, was thrashing and screaming in pain near its enclosure. Its eyes met Elias's for a brief moment before it collapsed, its once proud form writhing on the ground. What is happening? The mysterious stranger called out, moving towards the commotion. Something's wrong with the behemoth. Elias and Zara exchanged worried glances. They knew they couldn't ignore this any longer. The danger within their ranks was growing, and the secrets hidden within the academy were threatening to tear their world apart. They followed the stranger towards the behemoth, their hearts pounding with fear and anticipation. This was the moment they had been waiting for, a chance to uncover the truth and protect humanity from the darkness that lurked within their own walls. But little did they know, their journey would lead them down a path fraught with danger and deception, testing their resolve and forcing them to confront the very people they called allies. As they approached the behemoth, Elias felt a surge of anger and determination welling up within him. He couldn't let this continue. He had to find out what was happening and stop it before it was too late. He knelt beside the massive creature, reaching out to touch its scaly hide. The pain was immediate and overwhelming, like 1,000 needles stabbing into his mind. Elias cried out, falling back onto his knees as the world spun around him. When he finally regained consciousness, He found himself in a dimly lit alcove near their dormitory, the tattered scroll resting on a table before him. He looked up to see the mysterious stranger standing over him, a concerned expression on her face. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I had to bring you here." Elias groaned, rubbing his temples as he struggled to focus. "What happened?" he asked, his voice hoarse and weak. The stranger helped him sit up, offering him a drink of water. "You touched the behemoth," she explained. "It reacted violently, but I managed to get you out of there before things got worse." "Why is it doing that?" Elias asked, taking the water gratefully. The stranger hesitated, glancing around the alcove as if checking for eavesdroppers. "I think it's connected to your past," she whispered, "and I have a feeling that Victor may know more than he lets on." Elias stared at her, his eyes wide with shock and anger. "He knew about this all along," she nodded slowly. "I believe so. But we need proof. We can't just accuse him without evidence." "We'll find it," Elias said firmly. "We have to expose his betrayal, no matter the cost." The stranger placed a hand on his shoulder. "We'll do this together," she promised. "But be careful. I think things are about to get very dangerous." As they left the alcove and returned to their campfire, Elias knew that the road ahead was fraught with danger, but he also knew that he couldn't back down now. He had a responsibility to his friends, to humanity, and to himself, to uncover the truth and bring those who sought to manipulate and control them to justice. And so, with renewed determination, Elias, Zara, and their mysterious ally set out on their perilous quest, knowing that they would face many challenges along the way, but also confident that they could overcome them if they stood together. Their journey would lead them deep into the heart of the academy, where secrets lay hidden and danger lurked at every turn. They would confront betrayal, deceit, and treachery, testing their bonds and pushing them to their limits. But through it all, they would remain steadfast, driven by their desire for truth, justice, and the survival of humanity in a world ruled by behemoths. The reclaimed Behemoth's Academy under the crackling campfire, marshmallows roasted between Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger, as their laughter echoed through the courtyard. The Academy's towering spires stood tall in the moonlit night, casting long shadows over the bustling students, who reveled in camaraderie despite the impending danger within their ranks. "Elias, the mysterious stranger began, I believe I know more about that scroll than anyone here." His eyes flickered with a mixture of fear and determination. Elias tilted his head, intrigued but cautious. "You do?" The stranger hesitated for a moment before continuing. "Yes, but it's dangerous to share what I know. There are those who would stop us from finding the truth." Zara leaned in closer, her gaze sharp as she looked between them. "What is he talking about?" Elias felt his heart race at the mention of danger. He recalled Victor's mocking comments and the behemoth's roaring in pain earlier that day. Something was off with Victor. The strangers who sensed Elias' worry. "We must tread carefully," he warned. "I have information about a hidden faction within the academy plotting against us." Elias and Zara exchanged worried glances. They knew they had to act quickly, but as they rose from their seats, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The dimly lit alcove near the dormitory was a sanctuary for Elias and Zara during their late-night discussions about the academy's secrets. The crackling campfire warmed them as they roasted marshmallows on skewers, sharing stories of their past lives while they pondered how to unravel the mysteries surrounding them. "I can't shake this feeling that there's more going on here than we know," Elias said, his voice barely audible over the crackling fire. "What if Victor knows about the scroll? I've been so focused on learning how to control my powers that I haven't paid enough attention to what he might be up to." Zara took a long pause before replying, her eyes never leaving the flames dancing in the darkness. "I've noticed something off with him too," she said at last. "He seems agitated lately and keeps making veiled comments about your powers getting out of control." "Exactly," Elias agreed, his own concern evident in his voice. "It doesn't make sense for him to mock me like that unless he has a reason. There must be more to this than meets the eye." Suddenly, they heard footsteps approaching their sanctuary. Zara tensed, drawing her sword as Elias reached for the staff by his side. A figure emerged from the shadows, revealing the mysterious stranger who had joined them on their journey. "We need to be careful," he said, a sense of urgency in his voice. "I think I've found something that might explain Victor's behavior." Elias and Zara exchanged glances, both sensing the gravity of the situation. The stranger held out an ancient scroll, its tattered edges barely hanging on. "I found this hidden in a secret alcove near our dormitory," he explained. "It mentions Victor and the mentor working together against someone else. Someone very powerful." Elias's heart raced as he read the scroll, the words revealing a dark alliance between his mentor and Victor that threatened to shatter their trust in each other. As the flames flickered, casting eerie shadows over their faces, they knew that they would have to confront the betrayal within their ranks before it was too late. "We can't let this go on any longer," Elias said firmly. "I will speak with Mentor about this first, but if he denies it, we must expose Victor for his treachery." The reclaimed Behemoth's academy under the campfire, Elias and Zara shared marshmallows roasted over the crackling flames. The air was thick with tension. Their laughter had long faded into somber whispers. As they gazed into the dancing firelight, the dimly lit alcove near the dormitory served as a sanctuary for their secrets. "I can't shake this feeling," Elias murmured, staring intently at Zara. "Something is off with Victor." Zara nodded gravely, her eyes flickering in the fire's glow. "I agree, but we must tread carefully. He is cunning and will not make things easy for us." Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of the mysterious stranger, his silhouette casting long shadows on the ground. "Elias," he greeted softly. "Zara, what is it?" Elias asked, immediately wary. The stranger held a tattered scroll in his hand. "I found this in the training area. I think you'll want to see it." He handed the ancient parchment over to Elias, who unrolled it cautiously. Elias squinted at the faded ink, his eyes widening as he read the words. This mentions Victor and the mentor working together against someone powerful," he whispered, his voice barely audible. Zara took the scroll from Elias, her eyes scanning the parchment. Her brow furrowed as she read aloud. "The Behemoth's academy must not fall into their hands." Elias looked up at Zara, his expression grave. "I think it's time we confront the mentor about this," he said decisively. Zara nodded. "And prepare ourselves for Victor's reaction. This could shatter everything we know." In the dimly lit alcove near the dormitory, Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger sat around a crackling campfire, marshmallows on skewers roasting over the flames. Their faces were illuminated by the dancing firelight, as they shared stories of their past lives before the academy. Zara's eyes caught the tattered scroll she held close to the fire, its ancient words barely discernible through the burnished edges. "I still can't believe this is real," she whispered, her voice barely above a whisper. Elias nodded solemnly. "It seems like every day brings more secrets and revelations." He glanced at the mysterious stranger, his gaze lingering on the hood that concealed their face. "We have to be careful with this information. We don't know who we can trust anymore." The mysterious stranger nodded, a grave expression etched onto their features. "I agree. But I think it's time we confront the mentor about Victor and his true intentions. This scroll may hold the key to exposing them." As the conversation continued, Elias found himself growing increasingly uneasy. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was off with Victor. Despite their friendship, there was a coldness in his eyes whenever they spoke about the academy or its secrets. Victor approached the trio, his usual charm and wit seemingly absent as he observed them from afar. The mysterious stranger noticed his approach, watching him cautiously. "What's going on here?" Victor asked, a hint of annoyance in his voice. Elias stood, facing Victor directly. "We were just discussing our concerns about you and the mentor," he said, his tone firm but controlled. "This scroll suggests that the two of you have been working together against someone powerful." Victor scoffed. "That's absurd. What makes you think I would ever betray our cause?" Zara stepped forward, her eyes flashing with anger. "Because we know that this academy is hiding something, and you're part of it." Victor laughed coldly. "You accuse me of treachery because you can't accept the truth about yourself." He turned his gaze to Elias. "Your powers are spiraling out of control. You're becoming a liability." Elias felt a surge of fury coursing through him, but he held his ground. "I won't let you manipulate me like this," he growled. As the argument escalated, the behemoths in the academy began to roar in pain and rage. Elias's senses pricked up, a warning that something was terribly wrong within their ranks. The mysterious stranger grabbed his arm, pulling him away from Victor and toward the bustling courtyard. "We need to find out what's happening," they whispered urgently. "Something is off with Victor, and I fear it may be more than we realized." The reclaimed Behemoth's academy, in an isolated alcove near their dormitory, a crackling campfire flickered under the moonlit sky, casting eerie shadows upon Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger as they sat huddled around it. Marshmallows sizzled on skewers, roasting over the flames. "We need to find concrete evidence against Victor," said Elias, his gaze fixed on the dancing fire. "The tattered scroll is not enough." "Agreed," Zara responded sternly. "But we must be careful. If word gets out about our suspicions, we might face danger within our ranks." "Indeed," murmured the mysterious stranger, a grim look on his face. He pulled out the tattered scroll once more, studying it intently under the dim light. Suddenly, the behemoth's roars echoed through the academy, their cries filled with pain and rage. Elias exchanged worried glances with Zara and the stranger. "Something is happening within the academy," said Elias, his voice barely a whisper. "We should investigate." They quickly made their way towards the bustling courtyard, where behemoths paced restlessly in their enclosures. A sense of unease hung heavy in the air. In the dimly lit alcove near the dormitory, Elias confronted the mentor about a secret meeting he had witnessed earlier that day. The mentor's expression remained stoic as he looked upon Elias with a mix of sadness and concern. "Elias," the mentor said calmly, "there are things you must understand." His eyes flickered towards Victor, who stood nearby, listening to their conversation. Victor stepped forward, his charming smile fading as he faced Elias. "You're becoming too suspicious, my friend," he said coldly. "I thought we were allies." Elias stiffened, sensing danger. "We are allies," he retorted, "but I cannot ignore the facts." He turned to Zara and the mysterious stranger. "Stay here and keep watch over the scroll." Zara nodded solemnly, her gaze following Elias as he walked away with the mentor towards the training area. The mysterious stranger watched them go, a frown creasing his brow. As Elias confronted the mentor, the weight of their conversation hung heavy on him. He felt torn between trusting the man who had guided him and protecting his newfound friends from potential betrayal. In the distance, Victor stood watching them, a malicious glint in his eyes. His mocking comments about Elias's powers getting out of control echoed through the academy, fueling Elias's growing suspicions. As the night wore on, Elias found himself drawn back to the isolated alcove near their dormitory. There he sat under the campfire, lost in thought, as shadows danced and flickered around him. The moon hung low over the bustling courtyard as a group gathered around a crackling campfire under the night sky. Elias sat near the fire, marshmallows on skewers roasting between the flames. He had always felt an unspoken connection to the behemoths since arriving at the academy, but tonight, something was off. "Elias," Zara approached him from behind. "You seem troubled." "I've been thinking about the scroll we found and the things it hinted at," he replied, not taking his eyes off the fire. Zara nodded. "We should discuss it with our mentor tomorrow." A shadow moved in the corner of Elias's vision. He turned to see Victor smirking at him, skewer in hand. "Still worrying about your precious scroll, Elias?" "I thought we talked about this." "It's not just the scroll," Elias gritted his teeth. "There's something happening within the academy, and I won't rest until I figure it out." Victor raised an eyebrow. "You're getting paranoid, friend. Trust me, there are no hidden dangers here." "I trust you?" Elias asked sarcastically. Before Victor could respond, a sudden roar echoed from the training area. The behemoths had never acted like this before. Students started to scatter, and panic began to spread through the courtyard. Elias stood up. "Something's wrong. Let's go investigate," Zara said, following Elias as they made their way towards the training area. The mysterious stranger fell in step with them, keeping a watchful eye on Victor. As they neared the training area, they found one of the behemoths writhing in pain and rage. Its eyes seemed to fixate on Elias, roaring loudly as it tried to free itself from its chains. The other students looked terrified, unsure of what was happening. Elias felt a strange sensation coursing through him. He reached out tentatively towards the behemoth, speaking words of comfort and understanding. Slowly, the creature calmed down, its roars fading away. "What did you do?" Zara asked, awestruck by Elias's power over the behemoth. Elias looked down at his hand, still tingling from the connection he felt with the massive creature. "I don't know, but I think it needs our help." The students gathered around them, watching as Elias approached the behemoth cautiously. He placed a hand on its side and focused, feeling its pain wash over him. The behemoth seemed to understand his intentions and relaxed even more, allowing him to heal its wounds. When they finished, the behemoth looked at Elias one last time before returning to its enclosure, clearly grateful for their help. "That was amazing," Zara marveled. "Maybe there's hope for our kind yet." Elias shook his head. "We need to find out what caused this and who is behind it." The next morning they met with the mentor in a dimly lit alcove near their dormitory. He listened to Elias's concerns about Victor and the strange roars heard during the night. As Elias spoke, the mentor grew increasingly agitated and defensive. "Elias," he finally said, "I can see that you are troubled, but I assure you, there is nothing to worry about." "That's not good enough," Elias replied firmly. "I demand answers. Something is happening within the academy, and I won't stop until I find out what it is." The mentor sighed. "Very well, but be cautious. The truth may be dangerous." As they left the meeting, Zara and the mysterious stranger exchanged glances. They knew that uncovering the academy's secrets would not be easy, but they were determined to find out what was really going on. Later that evening, Elias sat alone by a campfire alcove near their dormitory, staring up at the stars. He felt a strange sense of unease growing within him. Something was off with Victor, and he couldn't shake the feeling that there were hidden dangers lurking within the academy walls. Suddenly, the mysterious stranger approached him. "Elias," he said softly, "I have something to tell you." "What is it?" Elias asked, turning to face him. The stranger hesitated, looking nervous. "I overheard a conversation between your mentor and Victor last night. They were discussing the scroll we found. It seems that Victor has been hiding something from us all along." Elias's heart raced as realization dawned on him. "Victor? My friend?" "Yes," the stranger replied somberly. "And I fear it may be more than just a simple secret. He may be a part of the hidden faction plotting against us." Elias stood up, anger and determination burning within him. "We can't let this continue. We have to confront him, together." The reclaimed Behemoth's academy in the isolated alcove near their dormitory. Elias sat by the crackling campfire, marshmallows on skewers roasting slowly, as he pondered the hidden mysteries of the academy and his own past. He felt a strange connection to these behemoths around him, but also an unsettling sense that something was not right within their ranks. Zara approached, her eyes scanning the courtyard before settling on Elias. "You've been spending too much time alone," she said, taking a seat beside him. "It's dangerous." Elias looked up at her, marshmallow in hand, and nodded solemnly. "I know," he replied. "But I can't shake this feeling that something is off with Victor." Zara frowned, her gaze flicking towards the dormitory. "You're not alone in your suspicions. We all sense it too." As they spoke, a distant roar echoed through the courtyard, followed by the sound of behemoths acting aggressively nearby. Elias tensed, his eyes widening as he felt the power within him surging. He leapt to his feet, marshmallow forgotten, and ran towards the commotion. Zara quickly followed, her own unease growing as they approached a group of behemoths that appeared to be in pain and rage. Elias reached out, feeling the throbbing energy coursing through them, and with a deep breath, he channeled his power into healing them. The beasts let out a collective gasp, their eyes widening in surprise before returning to calm. Victor stood nearby, smirking as he watched Elias' display of power. "It seems your powers are getting out of control," he said, mocking Elias with a sly grin. Ignoring him, Elias turned his attention back to the behemoths. As they regained their composure, a hush fell over the courtyard. Elias could sense something dark lurking within their midst, and he knew that it wasn't just Victor who was hiding secrets. "What is happening here?" asked the mysterious stranger appearing beside them. "This isn't natural for these beasts to act like this." Elias shared a glance with Zara before turning back to the stranger. "We suspect there may be hidden dangers within the academy," he replied, his voice steady and determined, "and we plan to find out what they are." In the isolated alcove near their dormitory, Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger huddle around a crackling campfire beneath the moonlit sky. Roasted marshmallows on skewers sizzled in the flames as they exchanged hushed whispers about Victor's recent erratic behavior and the strange incidents involving the academy's behemoths. Elias's eyes darted to the dimly lit alcove near the dormitory, where he had noticed an unusual exchange between his mentor and another figure. His mind raced with thoughts of concealed corruption within the academy, further fueling his suspicions about Victor. Victor, noticing Elias' absence from their usual training session, began to mock him. "Elias, my dear friend, it appears you are letting your powers get out of control," he said with a smirk as he flexed his own hand, a hand that seemed to glow faintly with an unnatural light. "You can't fool me, Victor," Elias retorted. "I know there's something more going on with you." Their conversation was interrupted by the distant roars of behemoths in pain and rage, echoing through the academy courtyard. The sound filled the air with a sense of foreboding, as if a storm was brewing. With tension rising, Zara, Elias, and the mysterious stranger decided to confront Victor about his true intentions. They gathered near their dormitory, preparing for what they knew would be a difficult conversation. However, they were unsure of how Victor's allies within the academy might react. As they approached Victor in the bustling courtyard, they found him surrounded by a group of students who laughed and whispered behind closed lips, their eyes following Elias warily. The tension between Elias and Victor was palpable as he sneered at them. "You think you can uncover my secrets so easily? I've been playing this game longer than any of you." Elias clenched his fists, ready to confront Victor, but the mysterious stranger held him back. "Let us not act rashly," she said. "We need to find out what is truly happening within these walls." Victor's eyes narrowed, sensing their determination. "You will never uncover my secrets," he taunted. "But I will make sure you regret trying." With a final exchange of glares, Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger left Victor to his schemes, determined to root out the hidden dangers lurking within reclaimed Behemoth's academy. Little did they know that their quest for truth would lead them down a treacherous path, one that threatened to shatter the fragile balance between humans and behemoths. The reclaimed Behemoth's academy. The moon cast its glow over the bustling courtyard as students gathered around crackling campfires, roasting marshmallows on skewers. Elias sat near a dimly lit alcove near his dormitory, lost in thought, when Zara approached him. "Elias," she said softly, sitting beside him, "I've been thinking about what happened today." He turned to her, staring into the flames flickering before them. "Me too," he replied, his gaze distant. Zara sighed. "The academy is hiding something, I can feel it." "Victor, especially." "I know," Elias said, his voice low and serious. "But we don't have any proof yet." Suddenly, a mysterious stranger emerged from the shadows, approaching their campfire alcove near dormitory. He looked around nervously before speaking in a hushed tone. "I've found something," he said, handing Elias a tattered scroll. "This could be what we need to expose Victor and save our world." Elias took the scroll cautiously, glancing at Zara, who nodded in agreement. The stranger continued, "But be careful, I overheard Victor and another person speaking about this information. They're aware of it too." As the three exchanged worried looks, a distant roar echoed from the training area. A behemoth lay writhing on the ground, its body contorted in agony as it convulsed violently. Students ran towards the noise, leaving Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger alone under the campfire sky. Victor stepped into their isolated alcove near the dormitory, a sinister smile playing on his lips. "You really think you can expose me?" he said, his voice dripping with venom. "I've been planning this for years." Elias stood up, his eyes flashing with determination. "You won't get away with this," he declared, facing Victor. Zara stepped forward, her hand on a concealed dagger. "We know what you're doing," she said fiercely. "And we won't let you hurt our world." The mysterious stranger remained silent, watching the confrontation unfold. As tensions rose between Elias, Zara, and Victor, he glanced down at the ancient scroll clutched in Elias's hand, a secret that could change everything. Under the campfire's warm glow, Elias stared into the flickering flames as Zara, and the mysterious stranger sat silently beside him. The dimly lit alcove, near their dormitory, was their sanctuary amidst the bustling academy courtyard. Marshmallows on skewers sizzled and popped, offering a fleeting moment of comfort in this chaotic world. "I still can't shake the feeling that something is off with Victor," Elias said, breaking the silence. Zara nodded in agreement. A sudden shriek echoed through the courtyard, followed by the distant roars of behemoths in distress. "We should investigate," Zara whispered, her eyes wide with concern. The mysterious stranger stood and offered her hand to Elias, helping him up. They left their campfire alcove near dormitory, sprinting towards the training area. As they approached, they found students scattered about, some shaking with fear while others tended to injured behemoths. In the center of the training area stood Victor, a smirk on his face as he spoke to the academy's mentor. Elias couldn't hear their words, but the tone was clear. Victor held something over the mentor. "We need to confront him," Zara whispered urgently. The mysterious stranger nodded, and together they moved closer, keeping out of sight behind a nearby tree. As they listened to Victor's mocking comments about Elias's powers getting out of control, their suspicions grew. They had always sensed something off about Victor, but now it seemed more concrete than ever before. "I wonder what he has on the mentor," whispered the mysterious stranger. "And how far will he go to keep it hidden?" Elias replied, his voice barely above a whisper. With renewed determination, they decided to confront Victor. As they approached, however, they were ambushed by unknown assailants. A group of students emerged from the shadows, surrounding them and brandishing weapons. "Victor sent these thugs after us," the mysterious stranger said, his voice filled with anger. Elias and Zara fought back valiantly, but they were outnumbered. Suddenly, a behemoth roared in pain and rage, shaking the ground beneath them. The attackers hesitated, their weapons falling from nerveless hands as the mighty creature charged towards them. With a final effort, Elias and Zara broke free, escaping into the dimly lit alcove near their dormitory. Exhausted and bruised, they leaned against each other for support, catching their breaths as the behemoth's roars faded into the distance. "We have to tell the others," Elias said, his voice thick with emotion. The mysterious stranger nodded. "But first, we need rest. We can't face Victor and his allies without a plan." Elias looked into Zara's eyes, understanding passing between them. They had come too far together to let Victor win. As the fire crackled and danced, they forged a pact to expose Victor's true intentions and protect their friends at all costs. The reclaimed Behemoth's academy, the campfire crackled and popped as Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger sat huddled around it, marshmallows on skewers in their hands. Their eyes were fixed upon the flames, illuminating their faces with flickering light. The night air was heavy with tension, the weight of unspoken words hanging over them like a shadow. "You've been quiet tonight," Elias said, breaking the silence. He glanced at Zara, her fierce gaze never leaving the fire. "Something on your mind?" Zara sighed, her expression hardening. "It's just, I can't shake the feeling that something is off with Victor." The mysterious stranger nodded gravely. "He seems too eager to see you fail, Elias. And I've noticed a few things myself." Elias frowned, remembering their recent confrontation with Victor. The man had taunted them about their attempts to expose his true intentions, and now it seemed those suspicions were well-founded. What if he's working for the hidden faction within the academy? Zara stiffened. "We can't let that be true. We have to confront him." The mysterious stranger nodded. "I agree, but we must tread carefully. He has allies in high places, and they will not hesitate to use force against us." Elias gripped his marshmallow tightly as a memory flooded back to him. The roaring behemoths from the training area, the ambush by Victor's allies. The fear was still fresh, but it fueled his determination more than ever. "We can't let them win," he said grimly. The mysterious stranger looked at him, eyes filled with understanding. "I know." A sudden noise caught their attention, and they all turned to find the mentor approaching from the dimly lit alcove near the dormitory. He stopped when he saw them, his expression unreadable as he took in their huddled forms around the campfire. "Elias," he said finally. "I need to speak with you." Zara and the mysterious stranger exchanged worried glances before Elias rose to follow the mentor, leaving a silent Zara by the crackling campfire. She watched as Elias disappeared into the shadows, her heart heavy with worry. She knew what this meeting could mean, and she couldn't shake the feeling that it would change everything. As Elias approached his mentor, he felt a sense of unease wash over him. The mentor led him to an isolated corner of the bustling academy courtyard, where they were out of earshot from their friends. "I've been watching you," the mentor said softly. "You have a gift, Elias. A unique connection with the behemoths that none of us here possess." Elias frowned, unsure how to respond. "Is that a problem?" The mentor sighed, running a hand through his white hair. "No, it's not a problem. For now. But there are those within the academy who would see your power used for their own gain." He looked at Elias intently. "I have reason to believe that Victor is one of them." Elias felt his heart race as he took in this revelation, his suspicions confirmed. "What do you mean?" "He has been acting suspicious," the mentor explained, "and I've seen him meeting with someone in secret. I can't be sure. I think he might be connected to the hidden faction." Elias felt a cold anger rise within him at the thought of Victor betraying them all. "I have to tell Zara and the others," he said firmly. The mentor nodded. "Yes, you do. But tread carefully. Victor is crafty, and he won't take this lying down." As Elias returned to the campfire, he knew that things would never be the same again. The academy was no longer a safe haven. It was a battleground, and they were on the front lines. With newfound resolve, he looked at Zara and the mysterious stranger, ready to face whatever challenges came next with courage and determination. The night air grew colder as they huddled around the campfire, their conversation growing quieter as they each contemplated the revelations of the evening. Elias could feel the weight of the truth bearing down on him, the knowledge that Victor was not who he seemed. His mind raced with possibilities and fears, but one thing was clear: he wouldn't let Victor win. As the night wore on, they shared stories of their past lives, trying to distract themselves from the looming danger. But even amidst laughter and camaraderie, the shadows lingered at the edges of their minds, whispering warnings of what lay ahead. They were no longer just students learning to control behemoths. They were warriors fighting for their very survival. The bustling courtyard of the reclaimed Behemoths Academy was filled with the laughter and chatter of students preparing for a training session. Elias, Zara, and the mysterious stranger sat huddled near their dormitory, marshmallows on skewers roasting over a crackling campfire under the moonlit sky. "I can't shake the feeling that something is off with Victor," Elias said, gazing into the flickering flames. "His behavior has been strange lately." Zara nodded. "Agreed. And don't forget his secret meetings with the headmaster." "Something isn't right." The mysterious stranger looked thoughtful. "I have been keeping an eye on him as well. There's definitely something he's hiding." Suddenly, a distant roar echoed through the courtyard, causing everyone to turn their heads towards the training area. The behemoths were acting unusually agitated, some pacing restlessly within their enclosures, while others let out ear-piercing cries. "That doesn't sound good," Zara murmured, her eyes narrowing as she scanned the courtyard for any signs of danger. The mysterious stranger stood, grabbing Elias by the arm. "We should investigate." As they approached the training area, they saw a group of students running in their direction, their faces pale with fear. "Something's wrong," one student panted, eyes wide. Victor and his cronies ambushed the headmaster. They took him into the dimly lit alcove near the dormitory. Elias exchanged a worried glance with Zara. "We can't stand by and do nothing." The three of them sprinted towards the designated location, their hearts racing as they prepared themselves for danger. Upon reaching the isolated corner of the bustling courtyard, they found the dimly lit alcove shrouded in darkness. They cautiously moved closer, their senses on high alert. A sudden movement caught Elias's eye, a flicker of light behind the shadows. He gripped his staff tightly, ready for battle, as they stepped inside. The scene that greeted them was chaotic and horrifying. Victor stood over the unconscious mentor, a twisted smile on his face. The behemoths continued to roar in distress, their eyes with fear and pain. Elias's heart raced at the sight of his beloved teacher lying there helpless. "Victor," Zara growled, her voice low and threatening. "What have you done?" Victor turned towards them, his smile never faltering as he raised a finger to silence them. "You dare interrupt. I am growing tired of your meddling." He gestured towards the headmaster. "He will be just fine, but you three—" "Well, that's another matter entirely." Elias stepped forward, his staff glowing with an eerie light. "I won't let you hurt him or anyone else." Victor sneered. "Oh, I don't intend to hurt them, young Elias. No, I plan on using their powers for my own gain." Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the alcove as the behemoths outside began breaking free from their enclosures in response to Victor's words. The three of them exchanged worried glances as they realized the true extent of his betrayal. The mysterious stranger stepped forward, his eyes filled with determination. "We can't let him get away with this." Together, they fought against Victor and his followers, their powers clashing in a spectacular display of magic and brute strength. As Elias battled Victor, he struggled to keep his emotions in check. Memories of his past life began to resurface, threatening to overwhelm him as the true nature of his connection with behemoths became clearer. In the end, it was the behemoth that saved them all. One of the creatures burst into the alcove, roaring in anger and rage as it struck Victor down. The others followed suit, their combined power knocking the traitor out cold. As they caught their breaths and tended to the injured mentor, Elias looked around at his allies, Zara, the mysterious stranger, and even the behemoth that had come to their aid. He realized that their bond went deeper than he ever imagined, and that together they could overcome any obstacle. The days that followed were filled with chaos and upheaval, as they exposed Victor's true intentions and worked to dismantle the hidden faction within the academy. But through it all, Elias found solace in his newfound family, a group of individuals bound together by their shared destiny and unwavering determination to protect the world from those who sought to exploit its power for personal gain. As they stood atop the campfire alcove near dormitory, watching the sun rise over the academy, Elias couldn't help but feel a sense of hope for their future. The road ahead was long and treacherous, but with each other by his side, he knew that they could face whatever came their way. "I never thought I'd find a home here," Elias said, gazing out at the bustling courtyard below. "But now I know that this is where I belong." The Reclaimed Behemoths Academy Episode 47, Burden of Truth under the campfire's flickering glow. Elias stared into the dancing flames, marshmallows on skewers dangling above their warmth. The dimly lit alcove near their dormitory offered a brief respite from the bustling academy courtyard, where behemoths roared in pain and rage. "You still can't shake the feeling that something isn't right here, can you?" Zara asked, her eyes never leaving Elias's face as she sat across the fire. Elias sighed, turning his gaze to the flames. "It's like a shadow hanging over me." He took a deep breath, then continued, "I just can't shake the feeling that there are secrets hidden within our ranks." The mysterious stranger looked at Elias with concern before focusing on Zara. "What do you think about all of this?" he asked. Zara leaned forward, her eyes narrowing as she studied the fire. "I know something's off with Victor," she said, her voice low and intense. "He's always been a bit manipulative, but lately it feels like there's more to it than just power." "You think he might be working for that hidden faction we heard about?" Elias asked, his heart racing at the thought. Zara nodded. "I don't know what they want, but I'm determined to find out," she said, her voice firm and resolute. Elias looked between Zara and the mysterious stranger, feeling a deep sense of unease settling over him. He couldn't shake the feeling that uncovering the truth would shatter everything they knew about their world and each other. Meanwhile, in a secret alcove near their dormitory, Victor sat with the mentor, his eyes gleaming with malice as he whispered into the ancient scroll laid out between them. The mentor's face was a mask of emotionless stone, but Elias knew there was more to the story than what met the eye. "You really think this is necessary?" Victor asked, his voice dripping with contempt. "I can handle Elias and Zara on my own." The mentor's gaze never left the scroll. "We cannot risk exposing our plans," he said softly. "It would be disastrous for everyone involved." Victor snorted in disgust, standing up abruptly. "If you think I need your help to deal with them, then you don't know me as well as you think," he spat before storming out of the alcove. As the night wore on, tensions grew between Elias and Victor, their interactions growing increasingly strained. The behemoths continued to roar in agony from the training area, adding to the unease that hung over the academy like a dark cloud. Elias couldn't shake the feeling that something was off with Victor. He found himself watching him closely during meals and classes, always on guard for any sign of deception. It didn't help that Victor seemed unusually friendly towards the mentor, which only fueled Elias's suspicions further. One day, while practicing in the training area, Elias saw something he shouldn't have. Victor meeting with the mysterious stranger, their whispered conversation filled with dark intent. He quickly approached them, his heart pounding as he listened to their plans. When he confronted them about it later, the mystery deepened as they denied any wrongdoing and turned the accusations against him. In a heated exchange, they revealed that Victor had been manipulating him all along, using his powers for his own gain. Elias felt betrayed, unsure of who to trust anymore. As the truth came to light, chaos erupted within the academy. The hidden faction was exposed, and those involved were banished or executed. Victor's betrayal left a deep scar on Elias and his allies, but they stood together, determined to rebuild their lives and face whatever challenges lay ahead. Under the crackling campfire, Elias shared marshmallows with Zara and the mysterious stranger. Their laughter echoed through the isolated alcove near their dormitory as the moonlit sky watched over them. But the serene moment was interrupted when a sudden roar pierced the air. "What was that?" Zara asked, her eyes wide with concern. Elias and the mysterious stranger exchanged tense glances, their laughter fading away. As they raced towards the academy courtyard, the three discovered a behemoth writhing in agony within the training area. Its roars were desperate and filled with pain. The mentor standing nearby looked pale and shaken. Elias's heart raced as he approached the creature, his uncanny ability to sense its emotions intensifying. "What is happening here?" Elias demanded, his voice echoing through the bustling courtyard. Victor stood nearby, a smirk on his face. "Just a little accident," Victor said flippantly, waving a dismissive hand towards the behemoth in agony. Elias's suspicions about Victor grew stronger, but he couldn't ignore the suffering creature before him. The mentor stepped forward, eyes filled with regret and fear. "I must tell you something," he said quietly to Elias, glancing nervously at Victor. "Victor and we have a past." As Elias struggled to process this revelation, the mysterious stranger interjected, revealing that Victor was not only working for the hidden faction within the academy, but also had a secret alliance with someone unknown, the mentor. "No," Elias whispered, his mind reeling from the shock. "Victor. Why?" Victor's smirk never wavered as he replied coldly, "You should have known better than to trust a snake like me." With that, he slipped away into the crowd, leaving behind a cloud of tension and suspicion. Elias felt his anger building, but the mentor's pleading gaze held him back. "I had hoped. I thought things would be different," the mentor said softly, tears glistening in his eyes. "But I see now that I was wrong." Elias felt a strange mixture of emotions, disappointment, anger, and sympathy for the man who had once been his guide. He knew he couldn't let this stand. As the last vestige of humanity, they had to reclaim their power and protect each other from those seeking to exploit them. With Zara and the mysterious stranger by his side, Elias made a vow to expose Victor's plans, no matter the cost. The future was uncertain, but he knew that together, they could overcome any obstacle and bring peace to their world. The reclaimed Behemoth's academy under the campfire's flickering light, Elias sat with Zara, sharing marshmallows roasted on skewers. The scent of smoke mingled with the crisp night air, as they enjoyed a brief moment of respite from their rigorous training. Their laughter echoed in the dimly lit alcove near their dormitory, creating a sense of camaraderie amidst the tension that still lingered between them and Victor. Suddenly, the behemoths outside began to roar in pain and rage, shaking the very foundations of the academy. Elias exchanged worried glances with Zara. A hush fell over their group as they watched the beasts thrash wildly in their pens. Elias felt a shiver run down his spine as he remembered that familiar feeling from before the sensation, when something was wrong within the academy. He stood, breaking the silence. "Something's happening," he whispered. Zara nodded gravely, and they slipped away from the campfire, heading towards the isolated alcove near their dormitory to discuss their next move. As they approached, they found Victor leaning against a wall, a smug expression on his face. Victor's eyes narrowed as he saw them approaching. "You two still don't trust me, huh?" He taunted them with a laugh, waving a scroll in the air. Elias's heart raced as he recognized it as an ancient text that spoke of the Academy's hidden curriculum evolution into powerful beasts to survive the impending apocalypse. "What are you doing with that?" Zara demanded, stepping closer to him. Victor chuckled coldly. "I thought I could use it for my own power. But now, I see no need." With a cruel smile, he tore the scroll into shreds and let it flutter down like ashes in the wind. Elias felt his anger boiling over, but Zara grabbed his arm, pulling him back. "Not here," she murmured. "We have to figure out what's really going on before we confront him." Under the campfire's flickering light, Elias and Zara exchanged glances as the behemoths outside continued to roar in agony. They had a feeling that something was amiss within their sanctuary. "You sense it too?" Zara asked, her eyes reflecting concern. "I've never felt the behemoths so distressed before." Elias nodded, his heart pounding in his chest. "Something's wrong. I can feel it." With a determined nod, they left their temporary shelter, stepping into the chilly night air of the Academy courtyard. The distant roars grew louder, echoing through the stone structures surrounding them. They soon arrived at an isolated alcove near their dormitory, where Victor stood with a tattered scroll in hand. His eyes met theirs as they approached, and he smiled coldly. "Ah, Elias and Zara," he said, his voice dripping with false warmth. "Quite the dynamic duo you've become." Zara stepped forward, her muscles tense beneath her uniform. "What are you doing here, Victor?" He glanced down at the scroll, tearing it into shreds before their eyes. "Just some trifling artifact I found." "Nothing of importance." Elias's anger surged as he took a step closer to Victor, his senses telling him that there was more to this situation than met the eye. Victor laughed, and Elias could hear the mockery in his voice. "I see you're still struggling to control your powers, Elias. Perhaps I can help." Elias gritted his teeth, feeling a surge of energy coursing through him as he narrowed his eyes at Victor. Zara stepped between them, her voice steady and firm. "You have no right to interfere with our training or our lives here. You need to leave." Victor's smile never wavered. "I will do whatever it takes to achieve my goals, Zara. And you should be thankful that I am helping Elias control his powers. If he continues down this path of unchecked transformation, there may come a day when even you can't help him." Elias felt a sudden surge of anger as the words sunk in. He took a step towards Victor, but Zara restrained him once more. "We should investigate the behemoth's distress," she said softly. "Victor, leave us." As they turned to depart, Elias's mind was racing with thoughts. He could feel something dark and sinister lurking within Victor, and he knew that they needed answers. They made their way through the bustling academy courtyard towards the training area where the behemoths were roaring in pain. As they approached, Elias's senses became even more heightened. He could feel the tension in the air, like a storm brewing on the horizon. The training area was in chaos as students tried to calm the distressed behemoths. One of them, a massive creature with scales that shimmered like obsidian, roared in agony as Elias approached. He could sense the creature's pain and fear, and he knew that something was terribly wrong. In a dimly lit alcove near the dormitory, he found what he had been searching for, a hidden faction within the academy plotting against them. Members of the faction wore masks, their faces obscured as they whispered plans in hushed tones. He quickly shared his discovery with Zara and their ally, and together they formulated a plan to expose Victor's alliance with this hidden faction. They knew that it would not be easy, but they were determined to protect their world from exploitation. As they left the training area, Elias felt a renewed sense of purpose coursing through him. He knew that the road ahead would be difficult, but he was ready to face whatever challenges lay before him. In the days that followed, they continued to gather evidence against Victor and the hidden faction within the academy. They uncovered ancient texts detailing their plans for domination and manipulation, and they shared these findings with the headmaster. The headmaster was stunned by what he learned, and he called an emergency meeting of the council. The atmosphere in the academy was tense as Elias, Zara, and their allies stood before the council to present their evidence against Victor and his allies. Victor, however, was not alone. The mentor, whom they had always trusted and respected, stood by his side. The revelation shattered Elias's world, as he struggled to reconcile the betrayal of the man who had guided him since arriving at the academy. The council deliberated for hours, their voices echoing through the halls of the academy as they weighed the evidence against Victor and his allies. In the end, they came to a unanimous decision. Victor and the hidden faction within the academy were to be expelled, and their actions exposed to the world beyond the academy's walls. As Elias watched the headmaster announce the council's decision, he felt a mixture of emotions surge through him. He was relieved that justice had been served, but he knew that the battle was far from over. The hidden faction would not go quietly into the night. They would fight to maintain their power and influence. Elias turned to Zara and their ally, his eyes meeting theirs in a silent understanding. Together, they vowed to protect their world from this darkness that threatened to consume them all. They knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult, but they were ready to face whatever challenges lay before them. In the days that followed, Elias continued his training, honing his powers and preparing for the battles to come. He felt a renewed sense of purpose as he stood before the mirror in his dormitory, his reflection staring back at him with determination in its eyes. One night, as he sat by the campfire near their dormitory, Elias felt a familiar presence nearby. He turned to see the mysterious stranger, who had been watching him from the shadows. "You've done well, Elias," the stranger said, his voice barely audible above the crackling flames. But the real battle is yet to come. Elias stared at the stranger for a moment, unsure of what to say. He had questions that needed answers, but he knew that now was not the time. The hidden faction would not be defeated easily, and they needed every advantage they could get. As the flames danced and flickered, Elias felt a sense of peace wash over him. He knew that whatever lay ahead, he was ready to face it. With Zara by his side and their ally at their back, they would rebuild their lives and protect their world from those who sought to destroy it. The days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months as Elias continued his training. He grew stronger and more powerful with each passing day, but he never forgot the lessons he had learned. He knew that power was not enough. It was how one used it that truly mattered. In the end, justice prevailed, and the hidden faction within the academy was defeated. Elias, Zara, and their ally stood before the council, their heads held high as they were hailed as heroes. The world beyond the academy's walls learned of their bravery and sacrifice, and they offered their gratitude in the form of aid and support. Elias looked out over the crowds that had gathered to honor them, feeling a sense of pride and fulfillment. He knew that the road ahead would still be long and difficult, but he was no longer alone. Together with Zara and their allies, they would rebuild their lives and protect their world from those who sought to destroy it. As the sun set on their victory, Elias closed his eyes, feeling a renewed sense of hope coursing through him. He knew that there would be challenges ahead, but he was ready to face them. With determination in his heart and courage in his soul, he stepped forward into the future, ready to embrace whatever lay before him.